It's the day of the grueling physical test. At this elite school, students are held to high academic standards and encouraged to excel in various extracurricular activities. The environment fosters competition and ambition, pushing individuals to reach their fullest potential. However, a teacher is involved in selling steroids to support students in their efforts to succeed, leaving the struggling kids who can't afford them at a disadvantage. Always seeming to end up failing for some reason. A girl purchases her juicy and suddenly transforms. Chris Bumstead showcases his impressive physique in a striking pair of briefs, highlighting his dedication to fitness and bodybuilding. His confident pose and well-defined muscles capture the attention of fans, emphasizing his status as a top competitor in the sport, passing the test as if it were effortless. When it's the protagonist's turn, the teacher notices that he hasn't brought anything and sets up a nasty surprise for him. As the boy grabs the bar, he feels a surge of determination, but it feels much heavier than it should. The teacher has placed a crystal that increases gravity on the table. His body was urging him to fail, yet he began cranking out repetitions without pausing, even as the weight increased with each passing second. Everyone was in shock, and the teacher was utterly stunned. The specific type of drug the kid took remained unclear. It wasn't a drug, he simply sold his soul to the devil. Let's take a moment to revisit how this all unfolded. It all begins with our protagonist performing a blood ritual because his mother is ill. He is drowning in debt. He loses consciousness. She wakes up with a pounding headache and believes it was all just a bad dream. But when he looks up, he realizes he has entered another world. A book appears claiming that it summoned him and that he is granted 3 wishes. Our protagonist, wise and perceptive, demands 10 additional wishes. The entity finds this quite amusing and reveals an unexpected twist. He isn't the master, he is the offering. A colossal monster emerges, declaring, "Your soul is already mine." The boy tries to run, but the demon compels him to burn alive, even as he is literally engulfed in flames. It begins to argue about the contract clauses, stating that this isn't an execution, but rather a test. According to the rules, he cannot be killed without undergoing a test first. The monster is deeply impressed by his audacity and presents a new offer. It grants 999 wishes, and the boy ascends to godhood. However, his remaining lifespan is only 1 minute. The only way to gain more time and avoid death is by using those wishes to fulfill the demon's orders. There's no time to read the fine print he signs. He wakes up in the real world once again. Everything seemed fine until the moment he stepped into his apartment. He discovered that the debt was even worse than he had thought. A blood-guaranteed loan. He hadn't even had time to read the terms before taking a hit, a blow that sent him flying. They begin to beat the boy while taunting him about his mother. At that moment, the child's eyes light up. An image of his mother flashes through his mind. The boy is consumed by pure rage. He throws a punch at Jake. Paul was hit right in the mouth. His goons can't seem to understand how this weak child just took down a professional fighter. An intense aura begins to emanate from him. Despite this, the goons refuse to back down. One of the brutes swings a club in a fierce attack. He misses entirely, and the impact sends him sprawling to the ground. He will never remember his own name again. The other one chose to test his luck, but at light speed caught a kick to the stomach with. There was no time to react. The final goon trembles with fear. Li Yu gives up the boss. The main character sends the message, "I will take care of the payment. Now, get out of here." The entity floats in the air and says, "I assisted you this time, but don't make it a habit." The boy ignores it and continues on his way, focused on his own thoughts and the world around him. He rushes to the hospital to see his mom. Upon his arrival, he finds his sister there, clearly unhappy about his disappearance. Their mom is on the verge of exhaustion from overworking to settle his debts. She hands him a card and says to never return. The boy leaves the hospital feeling utterly shattered. In that moment, he decides he will become the strongest, pay everything off, and prove his worth. The journey ahead will require determination and resilience. The following day, he began his training. Completing some runs, immediately he could feel the difference. "I am growing stronger." He returns to school, and during class, a bully provokes him by mocking his physical strength. But he ignores the taunts. Later on the training field, the same delinquent returns to humiliate him in front of everyone. Our hero responds with an icy demeanor. The bully attempts to throw a punch, but it misses its target. The main character effortlessly blocks it. The protagonist unleashes an incredible surge of energy, prompting the teacher to intervene just before the main character confronts the bully. Meanwhile, in the principal's office, the old man is pulling his hair out in frustration over the school's financial difficulties. The government reduced funding due to a lack of elite students. The teacher enters the room, holding the results, and calls in the troublesome kid, determined to fail the students. The teacher prepares for the confrontation. Meanwhile, the main character heads to the principal's office. Before he walks in, his hand catches fire. The talking book emerges from the flames and says, "There's something in there that I need you to grab immediately." The MC walks in, and the old man gets straight to the point. "You're struggling financially and the school is facing its own challenges. It's time to take your money back and walk away." He is utterly shocked by the news. The Wild points in the book to a black crystal resting on the shelf, needing that crystal in the diploma. He devises a brilliant plan with an IQ of 900. He addresses the entity, "Lend me your power now, or I'll be expelled, and you'll never achieve what you desire." The entity warns that his body could explode. In the end, they come to an agreement. The boy asks the principal to reassess his level. If he's weak, he will walk away. The principal agrees. He shakes the principal's hand, but the boy's magic begins to grow immensely. The principal starts to feel scared as the boy unleashes all his energy, causing the principal to release his grip, and realizes the boy is not at level 1. However, level 4. The old man's attitude shifted from, "Get out of my office and please marry my daughter." He urges the boy to compete for the school in the tournament. The MC only agrees on the condition that he can take the crystal with him, believing he had come out on top. But little does he know, he has just handed a divine weapon to the monster lurking within his student. The head of the academy calls over a teacher and asks her to escort the protagonist to the elite class. The tutor explains that the entire second floor is reserved for the elite class and that she will register him. She inquires about his relationship with the principal, but suddenly the PE teacher bursts in, shouting, grabbing the child. The teacher explains that he tried to plead with the principal on his behalf and encourages him not to give up. Not understanding anything, the teacher interrupts the drama to explain that he isn't leaving. Instead, he is being transferred to the elite class. Passing along this message, she warns that the principal is looking for him and seems quite upset. This left him feeling pretty irritated, sending him into a total panic. That night, in his room, he sat quietly reflecting on the events of the day. The boy sighs in relief after a day filled with twists and turns. He worries about how he will advance from level 2 to level 4 in just 3 months, but his boss has already made it clear that he won't offer assistance for free. With limited options, the kid admits that this was the only method he could think of, but he understands he can't rely solely on borrowed power. Looking on the bright side, he at least avoided expulsion and scored free supplements, choosing to take things one step at a time. The real problem appears on his phone screen with a notification that his debt is due in 5 days. As the hero heads back to school the next day, they realize that time is running out, and the pressure to become stronger continues to mount. The boy arrives for his first day in the elite class, visibly uneasy about the situation. As he walks down a hallway resembling an abandoned factory, he struggles to understand what he has gotten himself into. Suddenly, a voice calls his name, pulling the protagonist out of his confused thoughts. Turning around, he sees a cheerful guy waving and calling him over. The man explains that he sought him out because he wasn't on the roll call and apologizes for anything he might have missed, introducing himself as Professor Zhang. He surprises the boy with his relaxed and informal demeanor. Meanwhile, the principal has been struggling to keep the program afloat in order to maintain the school's reputation. As the hero observes the crumbling outer sections of the school, he realizes just how dire the situation has become. To reassure him, the teacher opens a door. A hungry camel is still larger than a horse. The teacher assures him that the place will not disappoint him at all. As he welcomes him to the advanced class, he reveals a super modern and well-equipped training room. Inside, several students are already training with top-of-the-line equipment. The teacher leads him into the elite academy, promising to introduce him to the class. Completely impressed, the young man observes that the facilities are first-rate. The students appear to be much more motivated. However, a closer look makes the hero realize that something feels off in the air. As he surveys the room, the young man notices a tense atmosphere among the elite class students. In an effort to capture everyone's attention, Professor Zhang gathers the class to introduce a new classmate. As he presents the boy, the teacher explains that the advanced class prioritizes strength above all else. The newcomer must possess something extraordinary. One of the older students eyes the newcomer with suspicion, questioning his true intentions. The veteran insists that the boy doesn't belong among them. The teacher, determined to defend the new student, firmly reprimands the upperclassman for his disrespectful attitude. Despite this, the tension in the room remains palpable, as the veteran continues to challenge the newcomer's presence. The main character appears indifferent. Ignoring the warning, the brute issues a formal challenge. The hero is faced with a challenge, and the question arises, will they accept the fight? As the tension builds, all eyes are on them waiting for a response. The other students are shocked, as a formal challenge is serious and involves the pride of both parties. Across the room, a girl with pink hair asks what's happening and learns that the new kid is about to fight. Upon hearing that, a blonde guy appears intrigued for the first time and inquires about the transfer student. In an effort to halt the fight, the teacher warns that a formal challenge requires consent, hoping the new kid will back down. To everyone's surprise, the hero accepts the challenge, viewing it as a great opportunity to test his strength before the tournament. Meanwhile, in his office, the principal receives a call that leaves him completely stunned by the news. On the other end of the line, Professor Zhang reports that the kid is already fighting, and he has barely even made it to class. He states that the strongest student issued a formal challenge, which the hero accepted immediately, with the entire class urging them on. The situation spirals out of control, leaving no opportunity for anyone to back down. The principal views it as the perfect opportunity to test the power-hiding training excuse and approves the match. In front of the entire audience, Professor Zhang outlines the rules, warning that any interference will result in immediate expulsion. Revealing their levels, he confirms that they are both rank E, Phase 2. To ensure a fair fight, the teacher makes it clear that this is a friendly match and strictly forbids the use of lethal force. As the upperclassman stares at the hero, the teacher emphasizes that there will be no retaliation after the fight. It's a clean hit to the face, or a surrender will end the match immediately. With that, the instructor gives the signal and yells for the fight to begin. Charging in, the upperclassman intends to strike first with all his might. His goal is to end the fight immediately. The protagonist effortlessly blocks the blow, as if he anticipated it all along. Stunned by what he sees, the upperclassman can't believe the new kid's incredible reflexes. Starting a flurry of rapid punches, the brute attempts to land a hit on the kid, determined to connect no matter what. He curses the hero for dodging around like a rat. Determined to corner him, the aggressor throws a kick, but it is dodged. The opponent taunts the protagonist, stating that all he knows how to do is run. Using a martial arts move, the upperclassman delivers a powerful hook kick. He believes the impact will be enough to take down the new kid, but he doesn't realize that his strike was blocked. A completely unexpected move. The kid spins and delivers a kick to the back of his opponent's neck. In total disbelief, he processed what had just happened. The upperclassman is shocked to discover that the new kid knows how to fight as well. Despite the situation, he tries to remain calm, believing he has a chance, as long as he avoids getting hit in the face. When he turns around, the hero stands right in front of him, delivering the finishing blow. The guy points out the rule, reminding him that a clean hit to the face results in a win. The teacher steps in and declares Zhou Qian the winner of the match. Shocked, the upperclassman can hardly comprehend that he has just been defeated. As they watch, the other students are left speechless, remarking that the new kid is incredibly strong. Believing the fight was swift, the protagonist seizes the victory to declare that there's no reason to complain any longer. Reflecting on the fight, the teacher concludes that the kid possesses remarkable talent, along with extraordinary physical ability and reflexes. Suddenly, the principal appears. The principal congratulates the hero on his impressive win. Pulling him aside, he mentions that there's something important they need to discuss. As the hero departs with the principal, the elite crowd discusses just how strong the new kid really is. Hearing this, the blonde student realizes he needs to recruit someone like that for his group, which annoys his partner. As they walk together, the young man expresses his excitement, saying he's pretty hyped. The principal reassures him, saying he'll get used to it, offering his full support. The principal encourages him to focus on his training. The protagonist contemplates the possibility of seeking financial assistance. As the story unfolds, this internal struggle becomes a pivotal moment, highlighting their vulnerability and the weight of their circumstances. The kid awkwardly asks if there's any way for students to quickly make some money. The principal scolds the child, emphasizing the importance of focusing on training to secure a successful financial future. Later on, while arranging a loan, the hero is concerned about the debt, as student loans come with severe consequences. Suddenly, a voice calls out to him from behind in a relaxed tone. The blonde guy arrives, brimming with excitement, and praises the earlier fight while embracing a child who doesn't even know who he is. Just then, the pink-haired girl arrives to reprimand her partner, calling him rude. She quickly apologizes for her behavior and introduces herself as Su Xiaoxia. She then introduces the blonde guy as Shenji Arui and explains that they are his upperclassmen. Su Xiaoxia offers to help him with anything he needs. declaring that they are now a team of 3. Shenjia Rui names himself the leader, while the hero thinks he's a rather strange individual. During a casual conversation, the upperclassman asks the kid where he learned that fighting technique, leaving the protagonist feeling confused. Unable to grasp the question, the blonde is shocked to learn that it was merely a reflex and not a technique. Describing the hit as brutal, the upperclassman warns that the loser will be furious when he discovers the truth. The girl explains that combat techniques are powerful moves acquired through scrolls or stones, revealing that the opponent's move was a D-ranked technique. The upperclassman helps the kid understand the situation, believing he might have better luck with a technique of his own. The protagonist asks whether such techniques are rare to find. The two explain that the school only teaches the basics, noting that a D-ring technique costs $500,000. Immediately after that, the two new classmates boast about having their own combat techniques. Noticing that they treat $500,000 as if it were nothing, the hero concludes that the elite class is truly wealthy. Suddenly, an idea strikes him. If they are wealthy, perhaps they can teach him how to make money. Without wasting any time, he asks if there's a legal way to obtain cash to buy a technique. After a moment of thought, the upperclassman suggests the only option he can think of, Blackwater. The girl immediately scolds him for leading the newcomer astray. However, the kid becomes curious. Trying to brush it off, the upperclassman claims he was joking and insists that entering Blackwater is forbidden. The punishment is expulsion. Shifting the topic, he inquires about how much money the hero requires for that combat technique. Upon hearing that he needs $300,000, the two upperclassmen gape in shock at the staggering amount. Checking his balance on his phone, the blonde realizes he doesn't have enough money, and the girl admits she's broke as well. Reflecting on the Blackwater district, the kid concludes that in desperate times, desperate measures are necessary. Later that night, when he arrives at Blackwater Street, the area appears completely deserted. Using his phone's GPS, he confirms that he is in the right location, right in the heart of the Forbidden District. Observing at the ghost town, he realizes it's not far from his house, just a few minutes by car. The hero then asks his boss what he thinks might be inside. With no response, the kid begins to question whether the entity is even present with him. Confident in his borrowed level 4 power, he believes he can manage the situation. As he gazes at the abandoned, crumbling buildings, he questions whether this is truly what they call a miracle. Suddenly, the protagonist notices signs indicating that someone has been wandering around the area. Following the tracks, he discovers a peculiar wooden door illuminated by a blue light, finding it intriguing. Without hesitation, he steps through the secret passage, curious to see what's in store on the other side. To his surprise, he discovers a city bustling with people, the true miracle zone. As he walks through the filthy streets, he notices people sleeping on the ground. Immediately afterward, he witnesses illegal deals taking place openly in the dark alleys. Recognizing that the area is lawless, the kid sees an opportunity to acquire the money he needs. Before seeking a way to earn money, the young man notices something unusual. Turning around, he asks how long the person plans to keep following him. Stepping out of the shadows, a man commends the boy's instincts. Believing his awareness is sharp, the leader arrives with 2 more goons and admits that the original plan was to ambush him. However, now they will have to proceed the hard way. Confused about the situation, the hero asks why they suddenly want to take him out. The thug explains that he looks like a rich kid, and they plan to demand a huge ransom. Finding the plan ridiculous, the kid can only wonder what kind of fool would consider doing something like that. Grabbing the protagonist by the shoulder, the man boasts that he is an oracle, and declares there is no escape. Staring the thug down from up close, the hero simply remarks that he's really rude. With a light slap, he cracks the ground upon impact. Seeing their boss knocked out, the other 2 goons panic, unable to comprehend what just happened. Furious that he attacked with his guard down, the guys pull out knives determined to teach the kid a lesson. But the kid remains calm, patiently waiting for their attack. When 2 wooden crates are thrown, hitting both thugs squarely, someone suddenly appears, catching the kid off guard. Holding his hand, she felt a surge of warmth and comfort, as if their connection could bridge any distance between them. A girl urged the hero to follow her, not allowing him a moment to think. She yanks him along and takes off running. Stopping somewhere safer, the group took a moment to catch their breath and assess their surroundings. The girl assures him they should be safe there. Grateful for her help, the boy expresses regret over not being able to interrogate the thugs. She recognizes him and calls out his name, demanding to know what he's doing in that place. Realizing she might be recognized as well, the girl panics while the boy asks how she knows him. Feigning ignorance, she plays dumb, claiming she just happened to see his name. Realizing he saw the ID tag on his shirt collar, the boy is shocked by his own carelessness. Thanking her for the heads up, he quickly removes the ID, relieved that his disguise nearly got exposed. Cautioning him against revealing his information, she offers to help the hero escape. But he refuses, stating that he has urgent business, and then he takes off running, leaving the girl behind. As she watches him walk away, she questions whether he truly didn't recognize her. Recalling the sensation of touching him, she wonders if he has become an oracle as well. He had purchased a mask for 10 silvers to conceal his identity. He comes to the realization that, despite searching high and low, he still hasn't discovered a way to earn money. Then, a strange man approaches him and asks if he's new to the area. Introducing himself as a local tour guide, he claims to know everything about the area. Recognizing an opportunity, the hero gets straight to the point and asks how he can make money quickly. With a sly grin, the guide tells the boy to follow him, his mind focused on the commission. As I descend the dark stairs, the surroundings become increasingly sketchy. Then two guys arrive and face off against each other. Hearing the crowd roar for blood, the hero realizes he has stepped into an underground fight club. The guide explains the rules, stating that the winner will receive the cash prize, and that now is the perfect time to participate. Sizing up the fighter in the ring, the boy observes that the man appears strong, but he is only at level 1. Looking up at the big screen, he sees that the total prize exceeds $400,000. He realizes this is his big chance. Holding out the chips, the guide asks if he wants in, but the hero declines, stating he's taking the prize instead. As he leaves, the guide, completely confused, realizes that the boy is serious and not there to play games with betting. A little later, the hooded girl searches for the protagonist in the midst of the crowd, shouting that the newcomer caused them to lose money. Meanwhile, inside the ring, the house fighter stares down the newcomer, questioning what he is doing there. The brute introduces himself as the tournament's main fighter, ready to take down the party with just one punch. The hero has a reputation for defeating every opponent with a single blow. In a rush to finish quickly, the boy calls out for his next opponent. Seeing as the next challenger is determined, the hero simply stares him down. After sending the guy flying with a single blow, he simply asks for the next opponent. Desperate, the other fighter attempts to place a bet before the match begins, but it's too late. He gets knocked out and slammed into the big screen, bringing his run to a humiliating end. Witnessing the massacre, the boss panics, unable to comprehend how they allowed someone who appears so weak to engage in the fight. Upon learning that his fighters have deserted, he realizes the club is on the brink of bankruptcy. Determined not to let the boy win the prize, the boss orders them to release the creature for the special match. The protagonist secures his victory in a stunning display of skill and determination, clearing the ring. He then asks if the prize money belongs to him. The club boss announces one final thrilling fight. This made the boy realize they had never intended to pay. They bring a massive crate into the arena. Now, it's time to reveal the final secret challenger. The announcer introduces a peculiar character known as Niflin. Without any hesitation, the staff release the strange creature into the fighting arena. Falling awkwardly to the ground, the monster is released from its restraints. Confused and bewildered, the hero simply observes the bizarre scene unfolding before him. Soon, he notices a strange device strapped to the back of the creature's neck. The creature then rises to its feet, displaying a sinister expression. In the crowd, a brute urinates in fear but attempts to act tough to impress the girl beside him. Seeing the creature up close, the girl panics, wondering how it ended up there. Worried about the boy's safety, she considers using her powers, but doing so would reveal her identity. Not knowing what to do, she simply watches, hoping he can escape. Inside the arena, the hero laments the absence of his boss, fully aware that his opponent is not human. A chill runs down his spine as his instincts scream that the creature is extremely dangerous. Charging in at an incredible speed, the creature almost lands a hit on the boy. Dodging just in time, the hero feels a sharp cut on his neck, realizing he would have perished if he hadn't acted quickly. The monster makes it clear that it wants to kill, not just fight. Knowing he can't hold back, the boy attempts to block the incoming attack. However, the beast's strength is extraordinary. He realizes that his opponent is far too dangerous, and he needs to end the fight quickly. Using the borrowed power, the hero elevates his level from E2 to E4. With a downward strike, he aims to deliver a powerful blow and strikes the monster directly. As the creature falls, the boy wonders if it has finally died. Suddenly, the beast rises again, attacking as if nothing had happened. Realizing his attack had no effect, the hero understands that hand-to-hand combat will not be effective. He knows he desperately needs a weapon to have any chance of survival. The creature attempts another attack, but the boy spots an opening. The opening move counters and breaks one of the creature's claws. Taking advantage of the opportunity, he uses it as a weapon against the creature. He realizes he needs one more chance to complete his task. Suddenly, the creature unleashes a thick curtain of smoke that envelops the entire arena. Covering his face, the boy wonders if the mist is poisonous, but soon realizes it's just smoke. Caught off guard, the hero receives a grazing cut but manages to defend himself. Using the smoke to its advantage, the monster unleashes a series of rapid strikes. As another cut slices across his back, the boy groans in pain, unable to see. Completely blinded by the haze, he realizes that his opponent is using the smoke to wear him down. Knowing that time is against him, the protagonist realizes he must end the fight immediately. He uses all his senses to locate the enemy's position. He intensified his focus as much as possible. He sees through the smoke and locks onto his target. Seeing the creature's attack headed straight for him, he halts the opponent's attack. In a swift motion, he slices off the beast's arm using its own sharp claw. Screaming in pain, the creature is left utterly vulnerable. Seizing his perfect opportunity, the hero charges in, poised to deliver the final blow. Suddenly, his heart begins to fail. Throbbing with unbearable pain, the boy wonders if he has reached his limit due to the borrowed power. In that moment, the creature successfully knocks the boy's weapon away and wields its tongue as a weapon for a counterattack, piercing the hero's side. Despite the pain, he refused to give up. The boy pushes his body to the limit to harness even more borrowed power. He seizes the monster's tongue, yanking the beast closer to him. He seizes the creature's jaws. The protagonist shouts once more that this is far from over. Beginning to push it, they made a final attempt to defeat the monster. With one last push, he finally tears the abomination in two, screaming for it to stop. Watching from a distance, the arena bosses gaze at the monitors, yet they can't see a thing. As the haze begins to lift, the boss anxiously inquires whether the kid has died. As the fight concludes, the man's face contorts with sheer panic. In the stands, the hooded girl is utterly stunned, unable to believe that he has won. Standing in the middle of the arena, the boy holds the two halves of the creature. He throws the creature's body to the ground. With a cold gaze, the protagonist simply stares at the crowd. Unable to believe what they saw, the boss stammered, asking how that was possible. The arena boss shouts that was his prize fighter, purchased at an exorbitant price. Meanwhile, the announcer's voice congratulates the boy on becoming the champion. Heading backstage, he is instructed to follow an employee to collect his prize. In front of him lies an open briefcase filled with cash. The reward he fought so hard for has been confirmed. One of the goons states that the total is $510,000. Just nodding, the hero agrees and prepares to take the briefcase. However, as he reaches for it, the boss snaps the briefcase shut. The man tells him to wait, explaining that he has changed his mind. He presents a new deal: become a contracted fighter or take a small sum of money and vanish. Completely baffled by the offer, the boy asks what it even means. Exploding with rage, the man shouts that our hero has killed his top champion and demands compensation. Staying calm, the protagonist responds that they never mentioned any additional fights. Recalling his own words, the boss remembers the rule in the contract regarding life or death. Left speechless, the man begins to sweat coldly as the boy confirms that the decision to kill rests with the fighters. Exuding an intimidating aura, the hero demands the $510,000. Pulling a gun, the boss yells, demanding to know who the boy thinks he is. When asked if he thinks he can stop him, the hero effortlessly crushes the gun with one hand. Screaming in pain, the man commands his goons to take care of the kid immediately. Immediately, all the thugs surround the boy, their guns aimed menacingly at him. With a sigh of boredom, the protagonist confronts the situation. Meanwhile, in the audience, the hooded girl hears the distant sound of gunshots. Suddenly, a body is hurled from the building's window, plummeting toward the crowd below, sending everyone into a panic. People believe it's some sort of movie shoot. Putting two and two together, the hooded girl begins to suspect that this may not be a coincidence. Amidst the chaos, the boy seizes the briefcase filled with money. However, another thug attempts to intervene. The hero sprints forward, dodging bullets as the chaos unfolds around him. Then, with determination in his eyes, he pushes through the danger. Focused on his mission, the boy lunges at the man who was shooting at the glass. Yelling through the shattered window, the other goon ordered that all exits be blocked. The boy feels a sharp pain in his chest, realizing he has overexerted himself by using too much borrowed power. To make matters worse, he realizes his injuries are worsening. Caught off guard in the middle of the alley, the boy is yanked forcefully into the shadows. Quickly, the hooded girl covers his mouth, concealing him as the goons pass by. As he takes the hero to safety, he realizes she is the same person who had helped him earlier, telling him to save his strength. The young woman reveals that she knows of a secret passage. Pointing to an exit, she warns him to hurry before the area is sealed off. After a brief hesitation, he finds himself at a loss for words, but the girl urges him to go. Finally, he lowers his mask, looks back, and thanks her for her help. In that moment, she simply watches the boy walk away. She grabs her phone and tells someone that she has found something unusual and that she doesn't want to deal with her grandpa. Meanwhile, the situation continued to evolve, with new developments emerging that would impact everyone involved. Tensions rose as key players made their moves, each one trying to gain an advantage. As the stakes increased, the atmosphere became charged with anticipation, setting the stage for what was to come. Back at his apartment, the boy throws the briefcase of money aside, too exhausted to remain on his feet. Overwhelmed by a terrible pain in his heart, he realizes he can't endure it any longer. Cursing his own luck, he eventually loses consciousness. His body finally succumbed to extreme exhaustion. Immediately after that, a status screen appears, indicating that he has paid off the current debt. Inside a dream, the boy hears his mother's voice in the hospital, telling him he has only a few years left to live. In the recording on his phone, she expresses her sorrow over not being able to witness him get married, have children, and grow old. Collapsing onto the bed, the hero hears his mother's final words, expressing her love for him. Covered by the sheet, her lifeless body serves as a poignant confirmation of their goodbye. He finds himself overwhelmed with emotion. Waking up, completely shaken by the nightmare, he takes a moment to gather his thoughts and steady his breathing. He looks around wondering if this is truly the old owner's house. Feeling relieved to be alive, he reflects on the nightmare and realizes that the painful memory is what brought him back to consciousness. Suddenly, he hears the entity's voice asking if he has finally woken up. Floating in front of him, the book reveals that it returned and found him unconscious for 2 days. Scolding him, the entity realizes he has found himself in an underground arena. Angry, the being demands to know how many times it has warned him not to use its power recklessly. The creature emphasizes the seriousness of the situation, revealing that it expended nearly all its power to bring him back. Telling the boy to appreciate this second chance, the mentor emphasized the importance of making the most of the opportunity before him. The entity chastises him for nearly dying. Acknowledging the reprimand, the protagonist admits he needs to appreciate the opportunity more. Curious about the monster, the being observes that the creature doesn't appear to be from this world. The boy remembers the girl from the district, but decides to focus on leveling up for now. Suddenly, he remembers the money he nearly forgot. He hurriedly opens the briefcase and sees the stacks of cash inside. The protagonist revels in the fact that the money is still there, but his boss dismisses him as pathetic. As he examines his own body, the boy realizes he must tend to the wound in his stomach. Overwhelmed by the demands of his treatment, he reflects on everything he has to accomplish. Training at the bank, heading straight to the hospital. His first task is to address that serious wound. In the exam room, the doctor examines the injury and reassures that it's nothing serious. Impressed by the boy's rapid recovery, the doctor jokingly asks if he is an oracle. Seizing the opportunity, the guy attempts to offer a membership card, but the hero declines. The protagonist feels a sense of relief, realizing that the monster's tongue isn't poisonous. Handing him a vial, the doctor instructs him to pay at the front desk, leaving the boy feeling confused. Noticing a strange light in the vial, the young man inquires about the bluish glow. However, the doctor doesn't see anything, leaving the hero to wonder if he is the only one who can. The doctor, attempting to take advantage of the situation, suggests that the experiences are hallucinations and recommends counseling. Ignoring the chaos around him, the boy notices that all the medicine vials are glowing as well. As he walks through the hospital, he notices that the lights are now visible everywhere, reflecting on the distinction between ordinary individuals and oracles. He figures that this glow must be composed of stellar energy. A memory of the fight in the arena surfaces, and he begins to wonder if that incident had triggered his ability. With newfound confidence, the protagonist realizes that by sensing stellar energy, he can absorb it more effectively. Suddenly, a man in sunglasses walks by, radiating a powerful green aura. I was completely shocked by the intensity of that energy. The boy realizes that a man's strength is extraordinary. Feeling as though he has just been assessed, the strange man pauses for a moment, but doubts that anyone nearby possesses such strength. Through the communicator, a voice reminds him of his mission to find the so-called alien star, and stop stalling. Replying calmly, the man expresses his excitement for the trip, while the voice unveils a prophecy about that star altering the course of history. Believing his boss is overly concerned, the man removes his glasses and contemplates what he will do if the star turns out to be an enemy. With a sinister grin, Amir, an A-rank speaker, vows to personally eliminate the threat if needed. Back at Lighter Revelation Academy, the boy is summoned for a serious discussion. The director questions why, just a few days after joining the special class, he was already skipping sessions and ignoring messages. The hero apologizes, explaining that something urgent came up at home and expressing his willingness to accept any punishment. To clarify, the director stated that he simply wanted to know if something unfortunate had occurred to him. Reassuring him, the man emphasizes that he trusts the kid and that even if he doesn't attend the tournament, the school will still support him. Understanding that the academy's purpose is to nurture talent, the young man listens intently to the boss's words. The protagonist vows to give his all in the tournament to bring honor to the school. As he dismisses the student, the director notes that his friends were so worried they even searched for him in his office. He barely steps out when a voice calls his name in the academy hallway. Welcomed by his new classmates, they express their concern, saying he vanished for days, causing everyone to worry. Engaging in conversation, the blonde upperclassman revisits the combat technique they had discussed earlier. Handing over a card, the guy reveals that he and his partner scraped together $300,000 and the hero can repay it later. Completely stunned by the gesture, the boy realizes he may have mentioned it by accident, never expecting them to take it so seriously. Declining their assistance, he claims that the technique isn't worth that much and expresses his gratitude to both for their concern. Unexpectedly, the upperclassman he had defeated earlier approaches him, offering $50,000 from her savings and apologizing for their earlier encounter. The young man remains stubborn, insisting that accepting the money would be a sign of servitude rather than a way to help each other. Despite her pleas, he stands firm in his decision, determined to maintain his pride. Explaining himself, the guy admits he misjudged the newbie and just wanted to apologize. Now, he hopes to be his friend. Leaning in close, the upperclassman whispers in the boy's ear that he was the first to defeat the guy and suggests they consider letting him join the team. Embracing the idea, the upperclassman invites him to join as the fourth member. To celebrate, the blonde promptly instructs the newbie to fetch him some water. Jokingly, the blonde upperclassman suggests that the one who should fetch the water is the guy who got beaten, which annoys the brute. As the hero begins intense training, reflection that for speakers to elevate their abilities, they must absorb stellar energy. However, the absorption rate is far more complex than it appears, and it presents a significant obstacle arose, even when utilizing equipment. To maximize intensity, his absorption rate remains quite low. The energy is wasted, and at this pace, he realizes he will never reach level 4 in time for the competition. He desperately needs to boost his absorption rate. Believing that free training is dull, the blonde upperclassman challenges the hero to a fight, eager to add some excitement to the routine. Remembering the fight against the monster, the boy has an idea. He realizes that it was that battle that awakened his energy observation. Turning to his teammate with a plan in mind, the protagonist declares he's in, but he will need everyone's support. A little while later, the pink-haired upperclassman unleashes her attack with the Izumo palm technique. Without hesitation, the blonde upperclassman lunges forward with a powerful fist. With impressive skill, the young man successfully blocks both attacks simultaneously, complementing their timing. After nearly an hour of intense training, the boy takes a break, leaving the duo completely exhausted on the floor. Impressed by the technique, the upperclassman remarks that she didn't expect the fight to be so intense, while the blonde admits he gave it his all. As the next round is announced, the hero declares that it's the brute's turn. Realizing he was correct, the guy concludes that in an all-out battle, everyone's absorption rate increases significantly. Capitalizing on the peak of his stats, he considers trying that other risky method to level up. Reflecting on the supplements, he realizes that the stellar energy within them is far too diluted to ensure the safety of ordinary people. From what he has observed, borrowed stellar energy is 100 times more concentrated, and absorbing it directly could cause his body to explode. If he simply manages the flow to what he can handle, he can transform that temporary power into something permanent. Feeling the energy flowing, the hero realizes for the first time the incredible amount of power he can harness. As a result, he successfully levels up twice in a row. Gradually managing the flow, he begins to compress the energy as much as possible in an attempt to absorb it, focusing entirely on the task at hand. However, when the energy strikes him, his body is instantly overwhelmed by the wave of power. Not anticipating that even a small amount could be so intense, he feels his entire being filled with energy. Cursing his luck, he realizes that despite his efforts to hold back, he has still absorbed too much. At this rate, his body is about to explode. With no other choice, the boy releases all the excess energy upward, attempting to prevent an explosion and creating a massive shockwave in the process. Completely panicked, the blonde veteran yells that the newbie's energy has suddenly spiked to an extraordinary level. Out of nowhere, the book senses a strange energy, questioning what is happening. In his subconscious, the man asks his boss if he said anything, but the entity simply replies that what matters is that he is alive. Rushing over with concern, the class instructor asks what happened and if everyone is okay. Feeling the intense energy overload, the master wonders if it was the commotion from earlier and orders them to bring the detector. When they activate the device, a glowing cube displays the number 3. The master, leaving the instructor stunned, shouts in disbelief, asking if he saw that correctly, while his students stare in awe, their mouths agape at the result. Recognizing that this is the first level 3 student in years, the instructor rushes off to inform the principal, while the hero chooses to train at home. Super pumped, the female veteran realizes that if they continue training like that, they can level up as well. The boy raises his arm and asks his boss why he isn't yelling at him, feeling unsettled by the silence. With a sinister smile, the entity declares that it has grown accustomed to this and will no longer waste words, as it needs him to become stronger. The hero states that he still has a significant amount of stellar energy stored up, and once his body absorbs it, he can reach level 4, with there are 55 days remaining until the tournament. The man begins an intense training and running routine. Together with his team, he trains relentlessly. The days fly by with grueling training sessions. Finally, September 6th arrives. The long-awaited exchange tournament has officially begun. The arena is packed with a massive crowd eagerly anticipating the upcoming fights. Excited, Tsushioxia expresses her disbelief at being on that stage, imagining how her mom would cry tears of joy. Concerned for the kid, the big bruiser veteran asks if he's ready for level 4 fights. The protagonist reassures the team that the principal only requested his participation, and if things become too dangerous, he will simply withdraw. He then explains the logistics, detailing how they will approach the situation together. His teammates caution him that the rest areas are separate, and they will need to split up there. Waving to the team, the young man bids farewell, believing that the moment he has been waiting for has finally arrived. He turns around, ready to face the biggest challenge of his life. So, meanwhile, in the VIP stands, the principal and the teacher remark that it's their first time competing in this exclusive section, and they have never experienced such treatment before. Suddenly, a man in a white lab coat appears, full of excitement as he greets the principal of Lighter School. Congratulating his colleague, the principal of Yongsheng Academy shakes his hand, astonished that he successfully trained a level 4 student. Discussing the new format, the principals note that with the increase in subsidies, competition will become significantly more intense. A man with an arrogant demeanor walks in, complaining about the noise and calling everyone present a bunch of hicks. Furious at the insult, Principal Hu prepares to confront the situation, but his friend intervenes, calming him down and explaining who they are. Not caring at all, Hu shoots back that the past doesn't matter, since the tournament hasn't even started yet and anything can happen. Mocking his confidence, the champion, Principal Li Kuo, tells him to enjoy the moment, as he will never get this chance again. Worried about the pressure, Teacher Zhang whispers to his boss, inquiring if the kids will be ready. The principal questions the teacher about his thoughts on the students, particularly focusing on the boy. Agreeing with the evaluation, the man states that all they can do now is believe in their students. Meanwhile, up in the stands, the class representative holds the academy sign, feeling a wave of nerves. Reflecting on when she first heard the news, she still can't quite believe he is really entering the tournament. A week ago, she walked down the school hallway, reflecting on how she hadn't seen him since she changed classes. Believing he was now the school's star, the girl thought he probably wouldn't want to talk to someone from the regular class anymore. Suddenly, she bumps into someone in the hallway. He caught the girl just in time to prevent her from falling. The guy asks her if she's okay. Still in disbelief, she thanks him for his help, and the hero simply replies that he was passing by and came to say hello. Admitting her worries, the class representative confesses that she feared he would no longer want to be her friend after joining the special class. With a calm smile, the boy reassures her that friends are friends, and their status doesn't change that. Totally relieved by his response, the girl reflects that he's still the same as always and is definitely going to win. Back in the present, the announcer's voice calls the competitors to the stage. The class representative spots the hero on the big screen. Walking confidently toward the arena, the young man prepares for the challenge ahead. As he welcomes the guests, teachers, and students, the arena readies itself for the tournament. As they introduce themselves to the crowd, the hosts announce that they will be running the competition, with the renowned Lillian as their co-host. Immediately, the audience is stunned, barely believing that the presenter is the most popular idol at that moment. With a smile on her face, the girl declares that today, she isn't Lillian from the stage. Instead, she's a serious host. The presenter explains the rules, revealing that 13 academies are participating and that the level 4 group needs to move to another hall. The fights will take place one-on-one. The winner advances to the next round, continuing until only one champion remains, with the hope that all will reveal their true skills. Suddenly, the presenter gestures toward the top of a pillar, drawing everyone's attention to a mysterious figure. The crowd is shocked to see that it is Master Bayou, an S-rank envoy in person. With just one finger raised, Master Bayou showcases his incredible power for all to witness. With a single gesture, a massive shockwave reverberates throughout the entire arena. The presenter reveals the immense power of the special arena, which was prepared by the master himself and features protective barriers. Additionally, the host warns that the gem before them serves not only for identification, but also provides protection in critical moments. Reflecting on that incredible power, the hero compares an S-rank strength to that of a true god, not anticipating it to be so extraordinary. Noticing that his boss doesn't seem to care, the boy realizes his nervousness is fading. With the results recorded in the gems, the host finally declares that the regional tournament has officially begun. The first round kicks off immediately with a fierce battle between two envoys from rival academies. In the blink of an eye, competitor Shaoran completes the battle in just 17 minutes. As they watch the scene unfold in the VIP room, the directors are taken aback by the presence of an S-rank master, realizing that the tournament is set to be brutal. Highlighting the power gap, one of the directors reveals that the divide between levels 3 and 4 is significant. Gesturing at the scene, he illustrates how, with substantial subsidies and costly martial arts programs, affluent schools consistently secure first place. With a confident smile, Director Hugh assures everyone that this time will be different. Just as the fifth match is announced, as the fight begins, fighter Lan Chen skillfully dodges the attacks, appearing to toy with her opponent. Suddenly stopping, the girl announces that the warm-up is over. Demonstrating a skill-based martial art, the fighter skillfully binds her opponent with restraints. Completely pinned down, the man panics, shouting that he can't escape from that technique. She moves in without giving him a chance and finishes him with a strike, ending the fight in just 5 minutes. Seeing this, the crowd goes wild, calling the skill magic and declaring it virtually unbeatable. Shocked by what he witnessed, Director Hu realizes it is a rare power that only D-rank awakened individuals and above can wield. The director of the runner-up academy simply scoffs, dismissing it as just an early awakening and claiming it's no big deal. Taunting his rival, the director of Yunhu Academy questions why he attempted to steal the student if he believes she is so weak. Clearly unamused and annoyed, the man grumbles, attempting to conceal his own hypocrisy. Announcing the sixth match, the excitement in the arena is palpable as fans eagerly await the showdown. Competitors are ready to showcase their skills, and the atmosphere is electric with anticipation. The next fighter from the 3-time champion academy prepares for battle. In just 5 seconds, competitor Wang Zuo delivers a knockout punch to his opponent, ending the match before any attack can be made. Impressed by the incredible strength on display, the crowd acknowledges the power of Shuguang Academy. As a back-to-back 3-time champion, the winner gazes on with a look of pure boredom, believing there's no suspense in this year's tournament. Praising the student personally trained by Director Li, one of the directors emphasizes that their strength is on an entirely different level. Repeating his arrogant line, Director Li states that the stronger a dog believes it is, the louder it barks. Barking defiantly, Director Hu stares down the rival and simply tells them to wait and see what happens. Thoughtfully, Professor Zhang states that they cannot interfere in this match, leaving everything in the student's hands. Admitting his low expectations, Director Hu believes that if the kid wins even one round, it will already be a significant achievement. After the 7th match is announced, the hero stretches, unable to believe he will be the last one to fight. His boss suggests that he borrows some power to end the fight, but the kid refuses, fearing an investigation. Suddenly, one of the female competitors approaches and comments that he got unlucky by ending up with the last match. Introducing herself as one of the earlier fighters, the girl reveals that her opponent is a top contender for the title. Questioning why his opponent would employ such a powerful move, the hero discovers that the battle for funding is brutally cutthroat. Grateful for the warning, the kid asks why she chose to help him with that information. The young woman explains that her director is friends with his, urging him to see her as an ally. Revealing her plan, the girl explains that she hoped he would wear down a few opponents for her. However, since the next one is strong, she wishes him good luck. Considering the warning, the guy questions whether his opponent is truly that incredibly strong. With the crowd screaming, the announcer finally declares that the last match of the first round is about to begin. In the stands, the other competitors are incredibly supportive. Hyped and barely able to wait for the final fight of the round, everyone celebrates the matchup, anticipating pure drama as he takes on the role of the being. Welcomed onto the stage, the hero is taken aback by the warm reception, not expecting that at all. Hearing the name Lei Chu, the realization that the warm reception wasn't meant for him, the kid feels a bit awkward. With a triumphant entrance, the real crowd favorite makes their appearance. The audience erupts in excitement, yelling and cheering for their idol's arrival. The blonde competitor exudes an imposing presence. The big screen displays the bracket for the 8th match, confirming that Zhou Chen will face Lei Che from Zhongshan Academy. As the narrator introduces Lei Che, his story unfolds, revealing him as a genius who achieved level 4 in just 4 years. The atmosphere is electric as the crowd erupts in cheers for the opposing team. The scene captures the fans' excitement in the stands. Completely smitten, the girls in the crowd scream nonstop, showcasing their unconditional support. The class representative notes that the opponent even has a fan club, while no one seems to be cheering for the hero. With a hint of arrogance, a fan snaps back, declaring it obvious. Her idol is handsome and strong, while his opponent has a bad personality. Fuming with anger, the class representative shouts that she is the hero's #1 fan, defending him fiercely. Annoyed by the nerve of the situation, the opponent's fan begins to argue, refusing to accept any insults directed at her idol. The two glare at each other with pure hatred. Shouting at the top of her lungs, the class representative cheers for the kid. While the opponent's fan does the same, their classmates watch from afar, shocked by the class rep's fierce attitude, having never seen her like this before. Inside the arena, the crowd is going wild as they eagerly await the show that the prodigy kid is about to deliver. Realizing the mistake, the host becomes extremely embarrassed for getting carried away and forgetting to introduce one of the competitors. Her co-host, feeling apologetic, attempts to resolve the situation. The announcer promises a grand introduction for the forgotten fighter. To the hero's embarrassment, he reveals that the fighter has no past achievements and no special techniques. The kid reflects on his decision, regretting that he didn't purchase at least one technique before the fight. Mocking the situation, the other competitors remark that his school must have spent all its resources just to train a single level 4. Laughing at the class representative, the opponent's fan taunts her, declaring that her school is at a beginner level. With an arrogant smile, the rival principal approaches, expressing his regret that they have to leave the tournament without a single win. Clearly annoyed, Principal Hu ignores the jab, while his friend remarks that every school has a first time. In the arena, the blonde opponent glares at the protagonist, remarking that it's unfortunate for him to face him in the very first round. The guy escalates his taunts, insisting that the kid doesn't stand a chance. Undeterred, the kid remains determined and pushes back, vowing to prove him wrong. Then, full of arrogance, the character believed they were superior to everyone around them. The enemy proposes to fight using only 1/10 of his power, ensuring that the loss will appear more respectable. Turning after rejecting the humiliating offer, the hero becomes irritated and reiterates that they will fight normally. As the opponent suddenly appears right next to the kid, the narrator questions whether he is holding back to determine the outcome of the fight. Charging in with determination, they face the challenge head-on. With a confident smile, the blonde competitor launches a swift attack at the protagonist, stopping the strike mid-air. He unleashes a flurry of super-fast punches, showcasing his skills without actually landing a hit. Shocked by the display, the narrator wonders if this is a special technique, As the crowd goes wild, the announcer notices the after-images and realizes they are clones created by incredible speed, adding to the excitement of the fight. As they watch the fight, the allied competitor remarks that the blonde opponent is truly a challenge to handle. The rival principal boasts it required significant effort to discover a genius of that caliber. Mocking the boy's lack of reaction, the opponent questions why he isn't moving. The blonde guy boasts about his superiority, claiming it must be tough for Zhou Chen to face an opponent like him. As the attack approaches, the hero remains motionless. He taunts him, claiming he won't dodge. To the enemy's surprise, the kid raises his arm at the last second, delivering a brutal blow to the opponent's chin. The narrator is left speechless. I don't understand what just happened. With the opponent lying on the ground, the narrator examines it closely, pondering whether the blonde guy had become careless. Confused by the tournament's strange rules, the kid is taken aback as the opponent's fans accuse him of cheating. Shocked by the turnaround, Principal Hugh's friend praises the clean hit, acknowledging that his student possesses real depth. Refusing to accept the loss, the principal of Zhongshan Academy accuses Leader School of hiring a ringer. Firing back, Principal Hugh questions whether he believes he is smarter than the higher-ups who evaluated the tournament. Annoyed by the noise, the principal of the three-time champion academy voices his frustration about the argument, labeling the entire situation a disgrace. Suddenly, the blonde competitor pushes himself up off the ground, declaring that the match isn't over yet. Before the narrator can declare the end of the fight, the opponent interrupts, asking him to hold on for a moment. Getting to his feet, the guy yells that he hasn't lost yet, and the fight officially continues. Admitting that he underestimated the kid, the blonde guy declares that from that moment on, he won't hold back anymore. Radiating an electric aura, he shouts that he can no longer contain his thunder power, promising to unleash his thunderous roar throughout the entire arena. The enemy responds with an overwhelming surge of energy, leaving everyone feeling the intensity. As the stellar energy surges around him, the hero braces for what lies ahead, racing at high speed. Watching from a distance, the narrator wonders if he is about to employ that special move, the special battle technique. With a smirk, the blonde guy is confident that he'll win the fight with his most powerful strike. With a thunderous explosive kick, he unleashes a devastating attack on the kid. Once again, the hero counters with a precise punch, shattering the opponent's technique. The impact sends him flying across the arena. Mocking his opponent, the kid remarks that he should have attacked before he became accustomed to his speed. Surprised, the narrator notes that Lei Che was launched into the air once again by Zhou Chen. As the opponent's stellar stone turns red, the narrator confirms that he has completely lost the ability to fight. As the results are announced, the kid wins the final match, but he worries because he nearly lost control of his strength. Stunned by the speed of the action, the crowd remarked that they could hardly see what transpired during the fight. This reveals the quarterfinal matchups. Bracket, the hero, advances to face Shaoran from the Blue Extreme Division. In the second quarterfinal match, Lan Chen defeats his opponent with a single strike from his weapon, locking in his spot. In the third match, Wang Zhua secures victory with a single punch, advancing to the next round. Impressed by yet another one-hit win, the crowd speculates that he must have been holding back in his earlier fight. Ignoring the previous match, everyone's attention shifts to the next match as his opponent glares at him with a fierce intensity. Clearly stunned, the men in the crowd can hardly believe what they are witnessing in the arena. Living up to his name, the opponent unleashes explosive fist attacks from vicious angles that are difficult to block. The hero, dodging with an eerie calm, seems to predict every move, evading each strike effortlessly. With a speed so astonishing that no one can react in time, the kid delivers the finishing blow and secures the victory. As they review the fight, the directors realize that the fighter didn't employ any combat techniques. He relied solely on stellar energy. Suspecting foul play, one of the directors questions whether he is above level 4 or if he has used illegal drugs. Immediately following that, the next fight is announced. The first semifinal, featuring the hero facing off against Liu Ye. To everyone's surprise, two men in suits enter the arena, bringing the tournament to a halt. The crowd is completely confused, wondering who those people are and what they are doing there. Handing over a strange device, the man in the suit instructs the kid to put it on and release his stellar energy. From their mere presence, the competitors send their special inspectors to verify the hero's level. Realizing he has gone too far, the kid understands that he needs to be more careful to avoid standing out. The test results reveal that the device confirms his name as Zhou Chen from Later Academy, and he holds a rank of V at level 4. After confirming that the check is complete, the inspectors find no discrepancies in his level and no signs of drug use. The commentator announces to the crowd that the kid's level is correct and the tournament will continue. The other competitors are shocked by the result and can't believe he defeated so many opponents. Facing the next challenge, his semi-final opponent questions whether the kid is truly that strong. With yet another one-hit victory, the white-haired competitor goes flying, defeated in an instant. Shouting into the mic in disbelief, the narrator announces that the hero has secured the win and advanced to the grand final. With a proud smile, director Who's friend remarks that his student is truly something special. The other directors congratulate Director Who on his win, praising both his dedication and the talent of his students. With pure contempt in their eyes, the rival directors watch from a distance, clearly annoyed by the situation. Reflecting on how the young athlete reached the finals in his first tournament, the director swells with pride, knowing the kid didn't let him down. Meanwhile, competitor Lan Kin readies herself to fight for her academy's honor. As she steps into the arena, she locks eyes with her opponent across the way, poised for battle. Emitting a dark aura, Wang Zor prepares for the fight as the referee signals the start. Confirming the semi-final bracket, the screen reveals that the hero has already advanced, while the second match will feature Wang Zor facing off against Lan Kin. Fans in the stands cheer loudly for their veteran competitor, rallying all their energy for a victory. Noticing an opportunity to strike, the fighter charges in with full force, launching into action and delivering a powerful straight hit to her opponent's chest. But the guy looks like he didn't even feel the hit. Unable to believe what she is seeing, the girl is stunned, questioning how her attack could have been so ineffective. Grabbing her arm effortlessly, the competitor arrogantly inquires if she has any status. She struggles to break free and manages to land a hit on him. He believes the entire situation is simply ridiculous. The blonde fighter prepares for her next attack, unleashing her special ability. She forms several energy bindings that completely restrain the enemy's body. She employs her kicking technique, striking him directly. Confident that every hit connected, the girl believes that should be enough to secure the victory. As he emerges from the smoke, he calls her pathetic, leaving the fighter utterly shocked. Not realizing when he got close, the young woman freezes, unable to react in time. The competitor uses his combat skills to land a blow on her. With a single strike, he sends her flying across the arena. As he surveys the destruction, the crowd acknowledges that both sides are strong, and they describe that guy as a monster. Watching from the stands, the blonde fighter's fans are concerned for their veteran. From a distance, the director of Yunhu Academy watches the fight intently, hoping his student can endure. Lying on the ground, severely injured, the competitor places her lucky charm on the ground beside her. Noticing the small object on the ground, an important memory surfaces in that moment of desperation. She reminds herself that she can't give up, that she must keep fighting. In a flashback, she enters the classroom and inquires why all the female students are assembled there. One of the girls explains that if the academy stipend is cut, she will have to return to work. The senior promises that she will win the district championship, securing the stipend so everyone can continue their studies. Hearing this promise, the younger student looks up with hopeful eyes and asks if it's really true. The younger classmate picks up something for the senior. As she hands over a lucky charm made by her mother, the girl assures her that it will bring good luck and that they will always be there to support her. Holding it carefully, the senior smiles and says, "Then it's a deal." An agreement sealed between them. Back in the arena, the exhausted blonde fighter weakly repeats the terms of their deal. As she steps on her charm, the opponent stares. She looked at her with contempt, questioning why she was fighting so desperately. With a ruthless kick, the competitor strikes at the girl, taunting her for being so dull. As her starstone turns red, the system indicates that she has lost the ability to fight. With the victory confirmed, her opponent is declared the winner of the semifinal. The rival prepares to deliver a final blow to the already defeated opponent, declaring that the heroine's journey ends here. Panicking, the announcer shouts for them to stop the fight, insisting that the match is over and he needs to intervene. Shocked, the crowd wonders why anyone would attack someone who has already lost. In a panic, Academy Director Yun-Hu shouts for him to stop immediately before a tragedy unfolds. One of the organizers urges the master to intervene, warning that if he doesn't, someone will die. But in the blink of an eye, someone seizes the girl. The hero questions whether bullying someone who can't defend themselves aligns with his academy's values. The competitor wonders who the person is that dared to interfere. The boy reveals his true identity. Completely shocked, the announcer screams into the mic that the protagonist has saved the competitor at a critical moment. Rushing over to help, Academy Director Yun-Hu expresses his gratitude to the heavens that his student is safe. Watching from a distance, the crowd grows furious, believing the man has gone too far and hoping the hero will teach him a lesson. With a smug look, the attacker declares that it doesn't matter who it is, because one more or one less makes no difference. Exuding an oppressive aura, the boy simply tells them to try their luck. With both competitors agreeing to go straight to the final, the medical team takes the injured fighter away. In the stands, the protagonist's classmates encounter their friends from the elite class and ask what's going on. The class representative announces that the hero has successfully made it to the grand final. With a worried expression, the girl adds that his opponent seems quite difficult to handle. From a distance, Director Who watches the big screen, concerned for the boy's safety as he faces a lunatic like that, reassuring them not to worry. The hero displays unshakable confidence for the upcoming fight. Staring at the protagonist, the opponent taunts him, claiming he doesn't stand a chance. Impatient with the pointless conversation, the boy interrupts and asks if they're going to fight or not. The attacker remains silent, their expression filled with a murderous intent. With both fighters ready, the announcer declares that the grand final of the tournament is about to begin. Without hesitation, the villain launches a powerful attack at the protagonist, creating a wave of pressure in the air. Mocking the boy, the opponent comments that he expected him to be more impressive. Seizing the moment, the hero retorts, "That's my line," leaving the foe momentarily stunned. Without even feeling the impact, the protagonist questions whether that's all the current champion has to offer. The hero lunges to grab the opponent, who narrowly evades the attempt. Gritting his teeth in rage, the opponent unleashes his battle technique known as boiling blood. As their fists collide, the two unleash an energy explosion that reverberates throughout the entire arena. Stunned by the scene, the commentators remarked that they've never witnessed a show like this in a level 4 match. Watching the fight from a distance, the boy's friends come to the realization that he had been holding back throughout their training. At that moment, the enemy creates an opening for a direct attack. The hero swiftly lands a hook on the opponent. Impressed by what he sees, the teacher admits he didn't expect the boy to match him in combat. Tasting his own blood, the rival is stunned, unable to believe he has been injured. Realizing he was injured by a rookie, rage consumes him entirely. Screaming with pure hatred, he pushes his technique to the limit, his entire body turning red. The entity in the book finds the technique intriguing as it compels star energy to explode. The boy realizes that his opponent's speed has increased even further with the new technique. Turning on his perception, he remarks that it's pointless, as his focused mind significantly limits his awareness. He boosts his senses. Noticing the intensity of the fighter's stellar energy, the assistant asks the master if they should request an inspection. The master explains that the competitor has employed this technique previously, and it does not constitute a violation. Curious about the fight, the man observes that the kid hasn't used his full strength from the very beginning. In a frantic exchange of blows, the two continue their relentless assault. The hero's teammates begin to notice something unusual. As they observe intently, they notice that the protagonist is guiding the enemy's attacks in a particular direction. Dodging a strike, he skillfully uses his opponent's own strength against him. Breaking his stance, the hero delivers a precise strike, landing a clean hit that proves he is the superior fighter. He pushes the enemy back, maintaining the combo and not allowing his opponent a chance to react. Fuming, the enemy admits that this kid is the first one to push him this far. Refusing to back down, he unleashes a powerful energy blast. The hero simply asks if that's all he has. Activating his borrowed power, he prepares to end the fight once and for all. With his perception maxed out, the kid claims he can see each of the opponent's strikes clearly. Thanks to his skill, he can identify the opponent's weak point, the heart. With a precise strike, he strikes the enemy in the screaming in pain. The man staggers back as the kid prepares to throw a punch. To everyone's surprise, he blocks the next hit, convinced that the hero's speed cannot possibly be increasing any further. In disbelief, the opponent begins to panic, struggling to comprehend how this is happening. Shouting once more that he's the strongest, he unleashes a burst of stellar energy with overwhelming force. With a cold gaze, the protagonist declares, "It ends now." Charging in with full force, the enemy shouts for the kid to die. As their fists collide, a massive energy explosion erupts in the center of the arena. The force of the impact is so immense that it generates a massive shockwave. As the smoke begins to clear, Director Hugh anxiously inquires about the outcome. In the midst of the dust, the announcer shouts the name of the enemy, Wang Suo. Kneeling on the ground, the opponent finally loses the will to fight, and his stellar stone drops to the ground. As the dust settles in the wrecked arena, the announcer proclaims that the only one still standing is Zhou Chen. With the hero's victory, his academy achieves a historic comeback, securing the overall championship. Celebrating the victory, the kid's friends shout with joy, expressing their belief that he could achieve it. Proud of the outcome, Teacher Jung congratulates the protagonist, expressing how much he has made them proud. With tears in his eyes, Director Hugh celebrates the fact that they will finally no longer have to beg for subsidies. Noticing the director still in the stands, the other directors choose to congratulate him on the historic win. With pure hatred in his eyes, the director of the rival academy curses, unable to accept the humiliating defeat. The runner-up academy's director rushes to join the celebration, eager not to miss out on the festivities. From a distance, the rank-S master finds the kid intriguing and decides that his mission there has come to an end. As he walks toward the exit, the man spots a familiar figure in the hallway, which surprises him. Realizing the person has truly arrived, he wonders if the reason for their visit is the child. Commenting on the hero's talent, the white-haired man remarks that he didn't expect a district that backward to produce someone like him. The old man asks the white-haired young woman if she believes she can bring the kid into their guild. As the girl the protagonist encountered at the underground tournament, she promises to do her best to recruit him. Meanwhile, on stage, the award ceremony is about to commence, with the trophy gleaming under the spotlights. Celebrating their victory, Director Hu delivers a speech, stating that they have demonstrated how even small places can raise a golden phoenix. Bombarded by camera flashes, the kid poses for photos, finding it more exhausting than the fight itself. The following day, in the director's office, the camera reveals a newspaper headline celebrating the district's miracle. The director expresses gratitude to the kid, stating that everything was made possible because of him. Handing over what he had promised, the man expresses his hope that it will be helpful, while the entity is pleased to receive the item. The academy head warns that the specialized institutes will be in touch soon and urges him not to forget the school. As the hero exits the director's office, they encounter an unexpected surprise in the hallway. When asked why everyone is there during the school break, the blonde veteran replies that they came looking for. Celebrating the fact that the tournament had just concluded, the schools quickly sent out the notices. His buddy reveals that they have all been accepted into the 5 prestigious academies. Congratulating them, the protagonist remarks that with their skills, it would be surprising if they didn't get in. However, the senior emphasizes that their goals won't be limited, promising that one day they will become the greatest partners. She explains that they will be relying heavily on the boy from now on. Agreeing with the idea, the hero responds that of course they can, as being alone is boring. Celebrating together, the boy promises that they will train hard in the future to become stronger. Suddenly, a timid voice suddenly interrupts the group's excitement. Gathering her courage, the class representative asks if she can join them, expressing her desire to become stronger as well. Impressed by the sleek, modern academy, the class representative stares with her mouth agape, her eyes sparkling with excitement. The young girl can hardly believe she's in the honors class. Grateful, she thanks the boy for taking her request seriously, but he humbly replies that he didn't do much. Bowing formally, the girl expresses her gratitude to the principal and everyone for allowing her to use the equipment. Explaining his future plans, the principal reveals that he will remove the class restrictions, allowing all students to train together. Celebrating this victory, he expresses his excitement about finally being able to pursue his long-held ambitions. Grateful for their support, he gathers the team to commemorate this historic moment for the academy. The blonde senior complains about everything, lamenting that the school was only renovated after he graduated. A big, burly guy tells him to be quiet and not ruin the celebratory mood. The principal, jokingly, adds that if he misses the school so much, he can always come back for a visit. The class representative was approached. The young girl who once believed she had no talent now finds inspiration in watching others fight for their dreams. Overwhelmed with emotion at her friend's determination, the senior cries, realizing there is only 1 month left until registration. Her friend promises to help with everything, and the other seniors also offer their support. When they inquire about the boy's plans, Shenjiri eagerly wants to know which school he will be attending. The hero reveals that he still hasn't received any letter. Shocked by this news, his buddy exclaims that it's impossible, especially since they were accepted into the 5 big. Suddenly, the principal interrupts, calling the protagonist over and stating that he was just about to discuss that. Handing over a red envelope, the man announces that his admission notice has just arrived. Crowding around the boy, everyone gets excited, eagerly asking which of the 5 big academies invited him. The letter reveals an invitation from Dawn Blade Professional. The academy is one of the most prestigious institutions. Yelling in shock, the blonde senior can hardly believe it, as she asks if that's the Dawn Academy located above the 5 big ones. Noticing the boy's blank expression, his friend asks in disbelief if he really has no idea what that means. Shenjiri explains the power hierarchy in the country, highlighting the 5 most recognized speaker academies. As he displays the symbols of each academy, he notes that they all embody authority, strength, and elite privileges. Above all 5 of those institutions, one stands on a completely different level, the legendary Dawn Academy, which receives total priority. When questioning the logic, the hero wonders why it isn't referred to as the 6 big academies, considering the uncertain status of the other institution. Jumping into the conversation, the principal explains that Dawn's value is unique and cannot be compared, as it was established specifically to eliminate the rift. Stating that it's confidential, the man explains that with authorization from the inner zone now in place, he can provide a brief overview. Worried about her lack of authorization, the class representative asks if she should leave, but the principal tells her to stay. Summing it up, the head of the academy describes the rift as a vast world teeming with creatures. When one of those rifts appears, the speakers must enter and eliminate the bizarre creatures that emerge from it. Although clearing a rift can bring considerable fame and fortune, the principal warns that the danger is far greater than they realize. The man reflects on his past as a member of a cleanup squad, where his team endured devastating losses. He shares that a key member was severely injured, leading to a breakdown in morale and ultimately causing the team to disband. He also notes that while other academies utilize the rift for exams, Dawn's challenges are the most difficult. He advises the hero to think carefully about their next steps. The man warns that if he refuses, other schools will continue to seek his recruitment. With confidence, the boy affirms that he is going because it's an opportunity to grow stronger that he cannot afford to miss. The director admits he anticipated that response, believing the kid is destined to become a remarkable warrior. Immediately after that, his friend Shinjirui supports him, stating that if everyone grows stronger together, they won't have to fear the rift. Noticing the date on the letter, his friend points out that there are only 10 days left until classes begin. Needing to hurry and get ready, the protagonist says goodbye, and his friends promise to handle the representative's training. Upon arriving at his apartment, as he packs his belongings, considering what else he needs to pack, a purple flame suddenly materializes in the center of the living room. The boy turns around, shocked by the sudden appearance. At that moment, his boss arrives, and with him, the stone that the hero took from the director appears, floating in the air. Emerging from the same portal, a strange hand reaches out to touch the object that emanates a peculiar energy. This energy is drawn from the crystal, which then drops and shatters into 1,000 pieces on the floor, leaving the hero to watch helplessly. Completely stunned, the boy screams in desperation about the crystal that has just been destroyed. Kneeling on the floor, he laments that he had planned to trade the item for money, but his boss reveals that the stone is now worthless. Recalling his acceptance into Dawn Academy, he sees the perfect opportunity to pay off his debts, but then he remembers the inherent danger. The entity explains that the rifts are nothing to fear, and that stellar energy originates from the same source. When the hero inquires about a reward, he realizes that one of his wishes has just been granted. Noticing on the wish list that the mission was completed, his boss mocks him. Inquiring whether he needs money from a lamp, the creature, whose goals are linked to the rifts, decides to assist him, regaining a portion of its strength in the process, encouraging the child to persevere. The entity, it completely envelops him in dark energy. At that moment, a system message warns that a fragment of the authority of creation is linking to him. After completing the scan, the system converts the excess energy, leveling him up to E6. Upon successfully completing the process, it confirms that he has acquired a fragment of the authority of creation. Curious about this fragment, the hero inquires about its effects on his body and asks who Sato Suto is. The entity explains that Sato Suto is an old friend and that the power she bestowed upon him is a gift designed to unlock his full potential. However, he finds the entire situation far too complicated just for the sake of leveling up. The boy questions the entity, which calls him a fool, declaring that only losers. Level only influences basic physical stats, but what truly matters is the first awakening at rank D. Remembering the athlete Lan Chen, who discovered her potential at a young age, the boy realizes how important this power is. The boss interrupts him, stating that the authority of creation is linked to his cognition, and it's best to test it immediately. Testing the new power, he realizes he no longer absorbs stellar energy, and the old system has transformed into a video game style. the protagonist notices a notification indicating a new quest has been unlocked. Excited, he reviews the details, realizing that this quest could lead him to valuable rewards. As he prepares to embark on this new adventure, he scans the area for any potential allies or resources that might aid him along the way. Several other windows pop up displaying an exchange and management shop, but everything is locked. In his quest to level up, he discovers that he needs a substance known as soul, which is extracted from rift creatures. The hero complains to the entity, expressing that without the ability to rely on stellar energy, he lacks the strength to enter a rift. Sighing, the book grumbles that the boy is a considerable burden and feels as though it is chained to him. Revealing that another wish has been fulfilled, the entity confirms that the mission to survive was a success. Instantly, a reward notification appears. The protagonist receives Kedra's magic armor and inquires about its significance. The boy is surprised to discover that he has received a magical piece of equipment. As the energy materializes in his hand, the description reveals that it's a fragment of the armor belonging to the hero King Kedra. Excited about the new armor, which enhances his strength and defense, the hero feels significantly more confident. The entity reveals that it has expended all the power it had saved, treating the gift as an advance investment. Accepting the reprimand, the boy thanks his boss for the kindness and promises to work hard. The following day, the boy prepares to leave. While talking with his director and friends, he explains that the trip will be brief and expresses his excitement to start school. Seizing the moment, the hero asks for a favor. He hands an envelope to his former director. When asked why he doesn't deliver it himself, the boy invents an excuse, claiming he has problems with his sister. Agreeing to look after his family, the principal reassures him, and his friends promise to visit in 6 months. Waving goodbye to everyone, the protagonist sets off to begin his journey at the new academy. Upon arriving at the city's vast airport, heading directly to the service counter, the girl asks if he needs a visa and a ticket to reach the intermediate level. She inquires about the reason for his trip. The attendant becomes confused when the boy mentions that he is there to enroll, prompting her to ask for proof of enrollment. The woman waits for the document while the hero presents his admission card. Recognizing the card, the employee is shocked to discover that it is an ID card from Dawn Academy. Impressed by the situation, the girl can hardly believe that a boy who looks so ordinary has been accepted. As the boy waits for an answer, he stands there, confused by her over-the-top reaction. The attendant, realizing her rudeness, apologizes and asks if he doesn't need an acceptance letter. Pointing toward the plane, she explains that due to his status, flights to the intermediate level do not require a ticket. Already inside the plane, he sits in first class and wonders if this is simply another one of Dawn Academy's perks. Considering the challenge that lies ahead, he remains solely focused on not letting anyone down as the pilot announces their arrival tomorrow. Standing at the entrance of the academy, the boy finds the place to be grand, yet oddly quiet. At the reception, he inquires about where new students should register. The staff member responds by asking for his card. As he examines the file containing the protagonist's name and photo, the man immediately seems to recognize him. Catching the boy off guard, the upperclassman claims he was waiting for him, but the newcomer insists he doesn't know anyone at the school. The guy explains that it's not him who wants to meet, but someone else who is eager to connect with him. The upperclassman leads the hero to a courtyard featuring a peculiar stone and instructs him to stand in the center and touch the tablet. Intrigued by the location that resembles a secret passage, the boy inquires about what it is. As he touches the stone with his card, an energy begins to glow, and the upperclassman warns him that he might feel dizzy. In the blink of an eye, the scenery shifts entirely, and the two of them find themselves in a different location. The upperclassman explains that the academy's actual location is much farther away and mentions that the person who called him is already waiting. Upon arriving at a gigantic white mansion, the guide announces that they have reached their destination. The guide announces their arrival to Miss Lin, stating that he has brought the person she requested. Inside the room, a white-haired girl sits calmly, flanked by 2 others. Greeting the boy by name, the young woman asks if he remembers her. Recognizing her immediately, the hero confirms that she is the girl who saved him in the Forbidden District. Immediately after that, one of the assistants transfers the money to the guide. He says goodbye and leaves the 2 of them alone, asking why he was called. The boy barely begins to speak when a green-haired man interrupts him. With a tone of pure contempt, the brute calls him a filthy commoner and demands to know who gave him permission to approach. Defending her guest, Lin tells Kui Ming-chung to be quiet, reminding him that the hero is under her protection. The young woman invites the boy to sit down and talk, attempting to calm the situation, but he refuses. In summary, the girl explains that her guild is short-staffed, which is why she wants to recruit him. The veteran then makes an offer he can't refuse, proposing a payment of 30. The hero is left in shock and completely outraged. The brute yells that amount could hire 3 rank B speakers. The young woman glares at her subordinate with a deadly look and demands to know when he became the one making decisions for her. Totally terrified by her reaction, the guy stammers and attempts to apologize. Curious about the new arrival, the purple-haired assistant watches the scene unfold in silence, seemingly unfazed by her boss's outburst. In an effort to persuade the boy, the veteran explains that he has just arrived and likely hasn't joined any guild yet. Considering the offer, the hero admits he would be lying if he said he wasn't tempted, but he wonders why she would make such a proposal. Suddenly, a voice comes over the loudspeaker, calling all new students to the meeting hall. Surprised by the unexpected offer, the young woman suggests that he take some time to consider it and choose her as his mentor. While he agrees to think it over, the boy still appears uncertain about what to do next. Lynn instructs her assistant to escort the hero to the meeting hall, and the assistant agrees. Inside the expansive meeting hall, several students are already seated, eagerly awaiting the start of the event. At that moment, a blonde guy with an arrogant demeanor believes he always stands out. He learned that the Lynn family's oldest daughter was present, and he realized that marrying her could be the key to boosting his business. Sizing up the newcomer, the blonde guy finds him pathetic and chooses to sit next to him to appear even better by comparison. As they reach the stage, a gray-haired man announces that he has things to do and promises to keep his speech brief. Introducing himself as Jiang Hui, the semester's instructor, he warns the students that he won't hold anyone's hand. The instructor explains that if they were accepted, they were once considered geniuses. He urges everyone to forget their past achievements. To sum it up, he describes the rift as a hunt, where a speaker can either be the hunter or the prey. The instructor reviews the school's resources, explaining that students can learn more in the library or practice in the training rooms. He also notes that each week, different teachers deliver lectures to help students sharpen their skills. In his final piece of advice, the man urges them to learn whatever they desire, emphasizing that the more they understand the rift, the stronger they will become. Noticing the absence of fear in their eyes, the master praises the newcomer's ambition and declares that they have passed the first stage. To reveal the school's reward, the instructor tosses several skill stones to the students. The students are completely shocked as they recognize the stones, discussing just how expensive they are. By absorbing the skill stone, the hero acquires the Eye of Perception, a universal technique for detecting rift writing. Cutting the celebration short, the instructor announces that 2 exams lie ahead. The first exam requires them to clear a rift. The second condition reveals that the students must reach rank D and awaken their potential. This causes everyone to panic. With an arrogant smile, the blonde veteran boasts about his rank of E5, confidently stating that reaching rank D will be a breeze. Reflecting on his situation, the boy understands that, being ranked E6, he cannot rely on supplements. He asks the class for silence, and the master explains that the school provides special potions and will assign mentors. A white-haired figure appears in the doorway, drawing everyone's attention in the hall and leaving the newcomers with their mouths agape. Introducing the veterans, the instructor announces that they will serve as mentors for the freshmen during the admission exam. He explains that the new students can select one of them as a supervisor to oversee the entrance test. Upon seeing the white-haired girl, the newcomers are stunned, hardly able to believe they are in the presence of a famous figure. Whispering about the veteran, one of the students reveals that she is the heir to the powerful Shenhua Guild. As she contemplates this revelation, the boy reflects on the Shenhua Guild, realizing just how important the veteran Lin truly is. Without hesitation, one of the students boldly confesses to the young woman that he enrolled in the school just for her. Smiling calmly, the girl turns him down, explaining that she's from the magic department and doesn't have much to teach. After that, several other students try their luck, but they are all turned down in the same manner. Observing the scene, the other girls remark that the guild's standards are excessively high and decide to choose another veteran. From a distance, the instructor seems frustrated with the situation, contemplating Lin In and the complications she brings. As the veteran receives a warning, the instructor stresses that she must take on at least one new student this year. With a cold, determined expression, the young woman appears to have an idea. Her gaze locks onto our boy, who suddenly feels completely awkward and unsure of what to say in that moment. Noticing that everyone before him was rejected, the blonde guy fills with confidence, convinced that his chance has finally arrived. Pure arrogance defines him as he brags about his looks and talent, convinced that there's no chance he'll be turned down. Before he could make his move, the hero stands up and calls out to the veteran, Lin En by name. Expressing that he seeks not only knowledge but also her companionship, he asks her to be his supervisor. Seeing it, the veteran looks visibly surprised. He mocks the situation. One of the students says the guy didn't learn his lesson, and because of that useless introduction, she will refuse. To everyone's surprise, the young woman simply replies with a yes, leaving the student in shock. The girl claims he is the chosen one. Completely shocked, the blonde guy yells in disbelief, questioning what her selection criteria could possibly be. In the mission hall, the hero inquires about her reasons for choosing him. Questioning the logic, he remarks that a guild that large shouldn't need a newcomer like him. Revealing some of her motivations, the veteran admits she recruited him not only for the guild, but also for personal reasons. The girl explains that she's already set everything up, and now the focus is on how to pass the entrance test. Pointing to the side, she indicates the other team members for the challenge. In front of the boy, 4 figures emerge, his teammates for the test. To get everyone's attention, one of the girls suggests they introduce themselves to kick off the mission. Introducing herself as Su-Han, a level 5 rank C, she announces that she will be the test examiner. Immediately after that, the blonde girl introduces herself as Liu Wei, the one in charge of treating the team's injuries. Zhao Lin introduces herself as the archer who will provide long-range support. With an air of arrogance, she asserts her capabilities. The warrior introduces himself as Li Rui, a level 3, rank D team leader. Noticing that the boy has no gear, the leader asks if he has awakened any special potential. The warrior is taken aback when the hero reveals that he is merely a rank E newbie and has yet to awaken his true potential. Seeing this, complaining won't help, the healer says. The teams are already set and there's nothing to be done. The blonde girl gives the newbie some advice, telling him to stay close to her as they enter the rift. With a sigh, the healer explains that without a weapon or any potential, he can't even harm the creatures. Back at reception, the team leader requests the evaluation, which is approved, and the rift is assigned to room 1. Using a fragment of the world tree, the group leader successfully opens a portal to the rift. With the rift open, the warrior instructs the team to prepare for entry. Feeling the weight of the moment, they gather their courage and focus on the task ahead. The hero, sensing the dense stellar energy, believes this is finally a genuine rift. He hopes they can find the enhancement item without too much trouble. Inside the rift, the team finds themselves in a cave, completely different from what they had anticipated. They barely have time to adjust before the girls realize the enemies have already spotted them, shouting for them to form the standard formation. The team leader prepares for battle. Impressed by the speed at which the team operates, the boy watches as they snap into battle formation instantly. Using her stealth combat skills, the examiner disappears, declaring that the test has begun. Shouting that the enemies are approaching, the team leader prepares for the first assault. Seeing the rank D shadow demon wolves, the warrior charges to the front line. Holding the attack at bay, he uses his shield to block the creature's bite. Realizing that its keen sense of smell has betrayed their position, the archer supports from a distance by using her Gale Arrow skill, unleashing a rain of arrows upon the wolves. The team leader activates his Frenzied Slash skill, but he quickly senses that the enemies are far too weak. As he charges into the pack, the warrior overextends, prompting the archer to shout at him to wait. Off guard, the archer is bitten on the arm by one of the wolves that managed to slip through. The healer quickly prepares to assist, stating that she will tend to her teammates' wounds. Before she can react, one of the demon wolves lunges at her. Panicking, the blonde girl freezes in fear, unable to react to the impending attack. In the blink of an eye, our boy appears before her and knocks the wolf out with a single slap. The girl, visibly relieved, thanks him for his help, and the hero simply asks if she's okay. Suddenly, a system notification appears, indicating that he has gained 1 proficiency point. Upon seeing the fallen wolf, the boy realizes that he can only collect souls by personally killing the beast. Believing that defeating a stronger target will yield more souls, the protagonist decides to go after the formidable one in the back. Fighting on the front line, the archer is struck and desperately calls out for healing. Her entire arm scratched up. She runs to help, and the healer announces that she is on her way to support her injured teammate. With her skill, she releases a healing light that instantly closes the archer's wounds. Impressed by the newcomer's assistance, the healer remarks that she didn't even see what happened. The examiner, not believing he saved her, watches the fight from a distance and notes the team's poor coordination, with the leader solely focused on having fun. The woman realizes that while the warrior's skill compensates for his impulsive nature, she still fears the test may not succeed. Amused by the situation, the team leader boasts about how simple the test is, claiming he could complete it all on his own. Caught off guard from behind, the warrior yells, believing the enemy hasn't noticed him. He attempts to strike the wolf, but the creature is protected by some kind of armor that deflects the blow. Seeing his sword fly through the air, the brute is stunned, unable to believe his attack has been deflected. A massive rank D stone wolf emerges, poised to strike. Without giving him a moment to react, the creature lunges forward and viciously bites the warrior's arm. Hearing the screams of pain, the girls on the team are startled by the emergence of a stone wolf, realizing they face a new threat. Realizing that the leader's screams have attracted more enemies, the archer understands they are now completely surrounded. Desperately yelling at the healer, the leader demands that she come to heal him, but the young girl warns him that he is too far away, placing all the blame on her. The guy insists that if they fail the test, it will be due to her being too slow, which sends the girl into a panic. The archer calls out to her teammate, urging her not to go any closer, fully aware that approaching alone would be far too dangerous. Without giving her a moment to think, one of the stone wolves charges directly at the healer. Watching from a distance, the examiner believes it's absurd to send the backline in for a rescue, as it amounts to essentially committing suicide. Realizing the test can no longer be salvaged, she prepares to step in and conclude the mission. Suddenly, she notices something unexpected coming from the rookie's direction. But just before the attack lands, the boy yanks the girl back. He pulls her out of danger at the last second, using his own body as a shield to stop the stone wolf's bite with just one hand. Crushing the beast's head with his demonic armor, the hero defeats the monster and collects 30 soul crystals. Recognizing that this opponent is stronger than the last, the protagonist realizes that stone armor pales in comparison to demonic power. Shouting for everyone to follow him, he announces his intention to carve a path for the team to escape safely. Without hesitation, he picks up the fallen warrior's sword and rushes ahead, creating a gap between the monsters. He swiftly dispatches the first creature, showcasing his skill and precision, and collects another 30 souls. Almost immediately, he takes down another formidable opponent, earning an additional 30 souls. Completely stunned, the examiner wonders how the rookie has developed such advanced skills. In disbelief, the archer and the healer question whether such power and speed can truly come from an E rank. Running to provide support, the two push forward along the path, but right behind them, more stone wolves are in pursuit. In an instant, the monsters leap toward the two girls as they flee from the creatures. Seeing the danger, the boy yells for them to duck immediately. In an instant, the hero eliminates all the wolves in one swift move, continuously racking up souls. With all the enemies down on the ground, the girls are now safe. The boy assures everyone that they should be safe for now and asks the healer to tend to the wounded. Still completely stunned, the two can hardly believe he cleared everything in an instant. Meanwhile, the blonde girl uses her magic to heal the leader's arm, but he winces in pain. Standing guard beside the hero, the archer assures her that she's fine and expresses her gratitude to the healer for the assistance. Seeing his counter at 210 souls, the boy realizes he has exceeded his expectations. The leader shouted that he was going to quit the test, leaving both the boy and the archer surprised. In an effort to diffuse the tension, the healer intervenes as the leader expresses frustration about shouldering the team's responsibilities alone. Fuming with anger, the archer declares that if he hadn't rushed in, they wouldn't be in this predicament. Refusing to accept responsibility, the warrior claims he was injured because the others are incompetent. With an evil grin, he declares that if they want him to be the vanguard, they'll have to beg for it. Suddenly, the boy tells him to wait there, leaving the brute confused. Taking the lead, the hero declares that he will be the vanguard and that they will complete the test together. Mocking the situation, the warrior asks if the boy truly wants to be the team's tank, explaining the challenges and responsibilities that come with the role. It's a rare opportunity. The protagonist insists he can't leave until he levels up. Laughing in his face, the brute calls him an idiot, declaring that he will be nothing but dust in front of the final boss. The girls on the team agree with the rookie's suggestion, leaving the leader completely shocked by their decision. Impressed by the boy's skills, the archer decides it's worth a try and resolves not to give up her spot. She remarks that at least the hero is more reliable than someone who cries over a scratch. The archer calls to the boy to leave, telling the leader to stay behind if he isn't joining them. Fuming, the warrior wonders how they dare to ignore him and vows that they will regret it. Deeper inside the cave, a pack of wolves rushes in to attack. The archer fires arrows, successfully hitting both monsters squarely in the head. Celebrating her success in stopping the beast's attack, she offers her support to the team. Praising her for her good work, the boy finishes off the wolves, collecting more souls. Warning them of an ambush, the healer points at a shadow wolf while the archer prepares for action. As the archer takes down one of the wolves, a second wolf attempts to launch an attack from behind. Before it can get too close, the beast is knocked out and sent flying. The hero arrives with his demonic armor activated, asking if they're okay. Noticing that the last monster in the area has been defeated, the team finally gets a moment to breathe. Impressed by the number of beasts they killed, the archer hardly notices how quickly it all happened. Praising the boy, the healer explains that it's because he's an exceptional tank and they aren't feeling any pressure at all. Feeling that they are nearing the final area, the archer becomes excited to complete the test. Suddenly, the young woman calls out to the newcomer, filled with curiosity, inquiring about the blue light on the boy's arm. The archer remarks that she has never seen anything like it before. Realizing he's been discovered, the hero concocts an excuse, claiming he has no idea what it is. The healer, unsure if it's armor, concludes that it must be some form of coupling potential. The archer confronts the boy, reminding him that he had claimed he possessed no potential when he joined the team. He emphasizes the importance of disclosing his potential to prevent facing discrimination. The healer warns that tanks are in high demand. Reflecting on the mission, the hero feels deep regret over the loss of many souls due to the actions of others. He glances at the counter displaying 810 souls and wonders if he will have the opportunity to gather the 2,000 he needs. Watching from a distance, the examiner can hardly believe that an E-rank freshman has managed to turn things around. As she sees the team nearing the end of the test, she finally understands why Lin was so insistent on including him in the lineup. Something catches her attention from behind. She realizes it's the former leader. The woman wonders why he is following the team. Reaching the end of the cave, the team discovers a dead end that appears to be the final area. Understanding the situation, they wonder why there's nothing present, as this is supposed to be the boss room. They begin theorizing about the mission. The healer suggests that perhaps there isn't a boss, but the archer believes that's impossible. Concerned that if the rift doesn't close, the test won't be complete, the team wonders if this is a rare occurrence. Activating his perception, he began to sense the subtle shifts in his surroundings. The boy uses his ability to analyze his surroundings. Sensing that something is off, he shouts to everyone, warning them of a threat looming high above. Suddenly, a massive creature descends from the ceiling and slams into the ground, sending everyone flying backward from the force of the impact. Realizing it's a trap, the team understands that the enemies had been planning an ambush all along. Slowly, the dust begins to settle, revealing the silhouette of a terrifying creature. The girls on the team can hardly believe their eyes, frozen in disbelief. Emerging from the shadows, 3 massive D-rank demon wolves make their entrance. Leading the pack, the Stone Wolf King, also classified as D-rank, makes its appearance. Dropping her stealth, the examiner shouts for the team to fall back, declaring that the test must be aborted. The woman explains that 3 elites and a boss are far beyond what this test is intended to be, warning them that there's no way they can handle the situation. The veteran expresses her concern, stating she won't be able to protect them. Considering the number of souls, the boy realizes those monsters must be worth a fortune. Suddenly, a mission notification appears before him. This catches the protagonist off guard. The system reveals the wish mission, assigning him the task of obtaining the soul of the Stone Wolf King. Recalling the contract, the boy realizes that the penalty for defying his boss is eternal punishment. He realizes that the system is blocking all his escape routes, leaving him no choice but to fight. With a crooked grin, the boy believes the system is seriously underestimating him. He turns to the veteran and asks her to let him handle the situation. Activating his combat skill, he dons the demonic armor and declares that those opponents belong to him. Yelling in panic, the examiner calls him an idiot, but the girls urge her to wait. Realizing that if the student insists, she must respect his wishes, the veteran steps back. The hero then tells the girls to hide, instructing them to fall back if things become too dangerous. Sensing the enemy's aura, he realizes they are on another level, and that without his armor, he would not survive. Strangely, the boy feels no hint of fear in the face of that threat. Compared to the burden on his back, those guys are absolutely nothing. Charging in with full force, the wolf pack charges forward to confront the hero. Immediately, the boy sharpens his perception to the fullest extent, dodging the Stone Wolf King's attack with incredible speed. Right after that, he is surrounded by the other monsters. Completely shocked, the girls can hardly believe he is holding off 4 Lord-level monsters. Observing the scene, the examiner admits it's the first time she has witnessed someone engage a Lord in bare-handed combat. The examiner already knows that Lord-level monsters are anything but simple. As he dodges the demon wolf's attack, the boy realizes that facing 4 of them at once is far too dangerous. Determined to reduce their numbers quickly, he focuses on taking out the king first, before his stamina runs out. With a clean punch, the protagonist lands a direct hit on the stone wolf, but he is caught off guard. The demon armor unleashed its full power, but it still failed to penetrate the beast's defenses. Then, the Stone Wolf King activates its Lord skill, known as Rock Armor. To the hero's surprise, all the cracks heal in the blink of an eye. Realizing the monster is attempting to defeat him by taking control, the boy must find a way to break the stalemate. Watching from a distance, the former leader can hardly believe that the newcomer has challenged 4 lords. Convinced that the lords must be weak, he believes that if he were in their position, it would be easy. Filled with envy, the brute believes this should have been his moment. Reckless, the warrior charges in with his sword drawn, aiming directly at the boy, intent on striking him down. Accidentally killing the hero, the plan shifts to eliminating the Lord to secure the future. The protagonist effortlessly blocks the strike, smirking as he notes it was the perfect moment. The hero sidesteps, allowing the leader to absorb the blow from one of the wolves charging toward them. In a moment of desperation, the brute tries to activate his defense-boosting skill, but it's too late. After being hit head-on, he goes flying, utterly defeated. With his armor shattered and no strength left to continue the fight, the warrior is knocked out. Taking advantage of the distraction, the hero seizes the sword of the former leader. Weapon in hand, he charges at the creatures, declaring that it's time to end this. He uses all his soul points to invest completely in agility. With agility increased from 0 to 5, the system leaves him with only 10 souls remaining. Along with this stat boost, he acquires the exclusive combat skill, Divine. In the blink of an eye, he slices one of the demon wolves in half, claiming 750 souls. The boy confirms that one of the enemies has already been taken down. Impressed by the new skill, he discovers that it also provides a powerful passive effect. With this new skill in hand, he confronts the final 2 wolves. With a clean strike, the boy takes down the second wolf, earning another 750 souls. From a distance, the examiner is stunned, unable to comprehend how he has become even faster. As the boy confronts the last demon wolf, the creature appears to be frightened of him. Meanwhile, the girls on the team work to support their fallen former leader. But the monster notices them. Spotting the wolf charging, the archer calls out to her partner to be careful, but it's too late. Determined not to be underestimated, she readies her skills. She unleashes an energy tornado using Converging Storm. Seizing the opportunity created by the distraction, the boy rushes in to defeat the last enemy, just as the archer's attack begins to fade. With a swift slash, he defeats the final wolf, earning another 750 souls. With the count at 2,260 souls, the protagonist finally reaches their limit. Now, only the Stone Wolf King remains. The real battle is about to begin. Without hesitation, the boy uses all his souls and finally levels up. As the system confirms his progress, he advances from rank E level 6 to rank D level 1. Surrounded by an intense aura, the hero evolves to the next rank. The examiner and the girls on the team are left speechless as they witness the burst of power. A system notification reveals to the boy that his potential has been unlocked, granting him the power of the abyss. Eager to achieve full rank D, he receives an exclusive combat skill as a reward. Examining the new skill, the hero prepares to unleash his power against the boss. With the reveal of Touch of Death, he summons 4 tentacles from the Abyss domain. With a swift checkmate, the shadowy tentacles pierce the Stone Wolf King, bringing the battle to a decisive end. With a surge of power, the boy defeats the Rift boss using his new skill, earning 5,000 souls in the process. Satisfied, he believes the Lord-level monster was worth the effort, and the piercing power made everything much easier. Upon completing the Wish mission, the protagonist receives the Stone Wolf King's crystal as a reward. Stunned by the unexpected victory, the girls can hardly believe he defeated a lord all on his own. With the Lord defeated, the examiner confirms that the energy fluctuations have stabilized. Celebrating their victory, the two embrace, thrilled to have finally passed the test. The girls bow in gratitude to the newbie for carrying them. He simply asks them to call him by his name. Praising the duo's strong performance, the examiner awards each of them 5 credits. She also mentions that they did their part, followed the plan, and didn't give up, which deserves recognition. Praising the boy's performance as the best she has ever seen, the woman awards him 15 credits. Completely shocked, the girls can hardly believe that the hero achieved the highest score they have ever seen. After thanking the veteran, the boy is told he would deserve even more if it weren't for the limit. Suddenly, the former leader wakes up in a rage, demanding to know why the hero has his credits. Explaining the penalty, the woman accuses him of abandoning formation and attacking a teammate, which voids his results. Desperate, the brute attempts to justify his actions, claiming he only wanted to end the fight more quickly. The examiner warns him that when the higher-ups investigate his behavior, the situation is only going to worsen. As the team prepares to leave the cave, they instruct everyone to head back before the rift closes. Back in the hall, the veteran announces that she has already sent the results and that the rewards will be transferred. Seizing the opportunity, the girls ask for the boy's contact information, mentioning that they'll reach out to him for future missions. With a new offer, the examiner invites him to join her guild, presenting a sum of 3 million. After careful consideration, the hero declines, stating that he doesn't intend to join any guild at this time. Understanding that he is meant to join the Shenhua Guild, the woman tells him he will be welcome if he changes his mind. As the white-haired veteran approaches, the examiner remarks that the test appears to have gone well. Calling out to the boy, Lin says she came to pick him up and asks what they were discussing, bidding farewell to the examiner. The girls congratulate the protagonist on successfully passing the test, confirming that she had been waiting. The veteran remarked that she didn't expect him to finish the test early. Lin shows the boy his new room, pointing out the luxurious and beautifully decorated space. Complimenting the space, the protagonist remarks that the room is quite nice, to which the veteran responds that he can request an even better one. Straight to the point, the boy states that now that he has passed the test, she should explain why she recruited him. The girl agrees to explain, expressing her trust in him, and stating that his performance in the test will silence certain critics. She explains that she is the official heir only because her father was the former boss, but the guild is already divided into 3 factions. To secure her position, she states that she needs his help to rebuild her own loyal team. Realizing she can't trust the old members, the hero questions why she should trust him at all. Revealing that she has watched him in his fights, the veteran expresses that what she values most in him is his obsession with power. The truth emerges when the young woman inquires whether he isn't overwhelmed by a massive debt. She explains that she investigated his debt and discovered that behind the small agency lies a larger company. She reveals that the head of this company is her rival. If the hero joins her, his data will be protected. Recognizing that having a supportive guild is safer, the boy realizes he has no reason to decline. The protagonist nods, feeling reassured. The young woman encourages him to take his time, emphasizing that there's no rush. With a newfound sense of determination, he sets off, ready to tackle the task ahead. The assistant completes a transfer to the boy, and he is stunned to see that he has received 5 million. The veteran explains that this gesture is a sign of sincerity, assuring that the rest will be paid later. As the 2 girls say goodbye, they leave him in his new room, and the hero expresses his gratitude for their help. Closing the door, lying on the bed, he lets out a sigh of relief and decides to check what he earned today. Seeing new features have been unlocked, he reviews his status in the exchange shop. When he checks the attribute upgrade screen, he realizes that the costs to level up are significantly higher. Noticing a new potential attribute, the hero is surprised to discover that it costs double what the other souls do. As he contemplates his strategy, he realizes that increasing his attributes will unlock new skills. He decides to test the new attribute by spending 1,600 souls to increase his potential by 5. As expected, the investment paid off. He upgraded his Touch of Death and unlocked Abyss Space. While testing the new storage function, the boy places a bottle of water into a shadow that rises from the floor. With a satisfied smile, he pulls the item back out, realizing just how much easier the new skill makes everything. Upon checking the other functions, he realizes he cannot rank up because he is missing a key item. Excited about the new shop, the hero is eager to explore the fresh possibilities that have just emerged. Amazed, he is impressed by the variety of items and weapons available for purchase. Recognizing that weapons are crucial, he decides to spend 1,500 souls to purchase a lesser greatsword. Holding the new weapon, the protagonist feels a surge of excitement as the sword fits perfectly in his hands. Noticing that his souls are depleting quickly, he decides to conserve the remaining ones for later use. Suddenly, his boss appears out of nowhere, startling the kid for a moment. The hero reveals that he has awakened his abyss potential, allowing him to summon his boss to fight alongside him. Impressed by how quickly he mastered the abyss, the entity inquires about how he discovered the method to level up. Noticing his servant's progress, the boss announces that now that the kid can enter rifts, it's time to get to work. The following day, at the rank evaluation department, the kid waits his turn to be evaluated. When asked by his boss, the hero explains that he is waiting for his potential evaluation in order to receive missions. When he is called in for the test, he stands up and follows the evaluator to the exam area. After confirming his identity, the woman explains that few people awaken their potential at rank D this early. She then goes over the process. The evaluator states that the device measures the rarity of the potential by its color. She encourages the child not to be discouraged by a low rarity, explaining that a second awakening can change everything. Black card. Then place his hand on the as he touches the device. A multicolored energy begins to glow. Noticing the strange color fluctuations, the woman realizes that the identification process isn't instantaneous. As she gazes at a blank panel, she finds it peculiar. Suddenly, a massive burst of energy erupts from the pillar, revealing dark eyes at its peak. The other evaluators observed it. Panic sets in as confusion reigns, the intense pressure making it hard for everyone to breathe. They are left wondering about the kind of potential this situation holds. Completely shocked, the evaluator admits that it's the first time she has encountered detection waves this strong. The kid discovers that his potential is to become an apostle. The woman notes that there is no record of the color purple. When she reveals the name Apostle, the evaluator is surprised, as it sounds like a job class. The woman explains that the First Awakening often features incomplete names and outlines how the system operates. Out of nowhere, the section chief appears and interrupts her, asking about the commotion from earlier. Reporting on the child's test results, the evaluator states that his potential rank is purple, which is unprecedented. After checking the detection panel, the chief confirms that the data is accurate and the device is functioning properly. He concludes that a purple rank represents an entirely new level. He then calls his superiors, and the section chief verifies that the device is operational and reports its potential. The evaluator informs the chief that the recording of the black card is complete. Handing over the new card, the man explains that since the purple rank is unprecedented, it has been classified as a unique rank. Upon seeing the new ID, the kid wonders if the purple color is connected to the fragment of the authority of creation. Meanwhile, the other students discuss the new rank, expressing their excitement and agreeing that the name is fantastic. Feeling that the title of apostle is a bit too grand, the hero decides it's time to embark on missions. In the mission hall, a man approaches, inquiring if he is lost and seeking a mission. Introducing himself as Zhang Hao, the man explains that his team is short one member for a gathering mission. As he checks the offer on his phone, the kid discovers it's a mining job that pays less but offers greater safety. Calculating that 4 people would earn 2 credits and $50,000 each, the protagonist eagerly accepts. The guy explains that to join, all you need to do is download the school's official app. Upon meeting the rest of the team, the leader introduces himself and announces that they can finally begin the mission. Inquiring about safety, the hero discovers that the free supervision is available only for the freshman test. Upon arriving at the crystal mine cave, the team is awestruck by the sheer size of the crystal vein. Suddenly, his boss appears out of nowhere and senses that something is off. The entity calls to him, and the boy asks if he has another wish to make. Upon receiving a new wish mission, the kid discovers he must collect 150 ores. Immediately after that, his boss explains that the stellar energy within the crystals is abundant and that he can absorb it. Offering one of his extra tools, the team leader urges the hero to hurry. Impressed by the newbie's strength, the guy inquires whether his potential falls under the strength type. His teammate remarks that offensive players have it easier, adding that his vision is useless during fights. Interrupting the protagonist, the entity demands that he stop talking, expressing frustration that it cannot absorb the crystals. While attempting to stash one of the ores, he receives a notification indicating that he lacks ownership rights. Noticing the child's distraction, the team leader cautions him against doing anything foolish. Finally grasping the situation, the protagonist worries about how he will find so many crystals in just 1 hour. With no empathy, his boss coldly states that it's not his problem and tells the hero to figure it out. At that moment, the entire cave begins to shake, and the group leader questions whether it's an earthquake. Pointing toward the back, one of the team members shouts for everyone to take a look. The team panics as they encounter a giant crystal-eating worm. Shouting to leave the remaining ore behind, the leader commands everyone to fall back the way they came. Giving them time to think, the monster begins chasing the team as they run for their lives. The creature quickly closes in on them. The child recognizes that the danger is right in front of them. Without a moment's hesitation, he pushes the group leader aside just in time. As the creature swallows him whole, his teammate screams the hero's name in panic, fearing he has been captured. Already inside the monster's mouth, the kid reveals that he allowed himself to get caught on purpose. Realizing that the creature nests near the ore, the hero becomes excited at the prospect of claiming it all. Meanwhile, the kid leaps out of the monster's mouth and delivers a kick to the creature. Upon landing in a cave filled with crystals, his boss confirms that his hunch was indeed correct. However, the cave is teeming with other worms, and the protagonist feels a sense of relief at having more souls to collect. Activating his combat skill, Touch of Death, the kid is eager to test the limits of its power. Summoning several shadowy tentacles, he pierces all the worms simultaneously, earning 120 souls from each one. Noticing that the kid can control up to 6 tentacles simultaneously, his boss praises his impressive skills. Realizing that the Touch of Death is far more efficient, our hero acknowledges that the only downside is its usage limit. Since combat skills consume mental energy, a system warning alerts him that his levels are critically low. Even when completely exhausted, he feels relieved after clearing out the smaller monsters and prepares himself for the boss. Activating his divine speed, he slices the giant worm into pieces with a single attack, earning 7,000 souls. After evaluating the servant's performance, the entity assigns an approving score, but cautions that there is a long road ahead. With no time to waste before the rift closes, the hero uses his tentacles to extract the crystals from the monster. Since the mission requires 150 crystals within an hour, the kid commands his tentacles to mine quickly. Counting the haul, the protagonist celebrates reaching a total of 13,000 souls and concludes that soloing is the best experience in the world. Recalling that leveling agility and potential unlock new skills, he decides to explore other attributes. He spends 5,000 souls to reach D ranks level 2 and allocates points to constitution, strength, and mental power. Upon reaching level 5 in strength, the system rewards him with the skill Powerful Strike, which enhances his endurance. Reaching level 5 in mental power 2, he unlocks the skill Calm Breathing, which enhances his recovery. Upon activating Calm Breathing, the protagonist realizes that the skill is incredible, allowing him to attack with a Touch of Death without any cost. Checking his stats once more, he becomes curious about the senses attribute, as he has never utilized it before. As the kid reflects on the attributes, he comprehends the function of each one, yet the power of the senses remains a mystery. Determined to test it himself, he spends the remainder of his souls to discover what that attribute does. He gains the skill Eye of the Bearer. He understands that the attribute of authority is meant for information-type functions. Using his new skill to scan the larvae, he receives detailed information and notices a strange glow. Immediately, he commands one of his tentacles to dig into the ground, instructing it to unearth the glowing object. As he holds the mutant crystal discovered within the Lord's body, the hero senses a strange energy that leaves him feeling confused. He discovers that this special enhancement material can significantly boost his demonic armor. Overwhelmed by the possibilities, the entity inquires how he obtained that, as the enhancement method was believed to be lost. As the rift is about to close, the boss tells them they will discuss it after they return. As the portal closes, the people outside panic, uncertain of the battle's outcome. When he inquires about the lack of a rescue, the team leader discovers that the worm's nest is far too complicated to risk an operation. Devastated, he blames himself for involving the hero in the mission, believing he is responsible for the rookie's disappearance. Suddenly, one of the students shouts for everyone to look, pointing at the portal that has just closed. Walking out calmly, the boy steps through the rift as if nothing had happened, leaving everyone speechless. The leader rushes up in relief and asks how he managed to escape. The hero fabricates a story about getting lucky while trapped in the beast's teeth, deceiving everyone. He claims he emerged from the monster's mouth and vaguely recalls the path, lamenting the loss of the crystals. To everyone's relief, his teammate emphasizes that the important thing is that he is safe, and the system announces that the mission is complete. As a reward, he receives the Crystal-Eating King's Crystal. Meanwhile, at Tanlin Hospital during the night, the boy's sister stops by for a visit. Walking into the room, the young woman is completely shocked to find the bed where her mother once lay is empty. She runs down the hallway in a panic and asks a nurse where the patient is, fearing that something terrible has happened. The nurse explains that the patient has been transferred to the ICU, causing the girl to worry about the costs involved. The woman states that Director Hu from Lighter Academy paid for the treatment in advance under the son's name. Back to the boy. He spends 3,000 souls and uses the mutant crystal to upgrade his demonic armor at last. With the evolution, the armor now enhances his strength when worn and releases energy to neutralize incoming attacks. Discovering that the authority fragment also included an upgrade method, the hero celebrates what a productive day it has been. As he examines the mission crystals in his storage, the young man understands that he will learn how to use them by continuing to complete tasks. That this newfound stability comes with its own challenges. While he feels a sense of relief, he understands that he must remain vigilant and focused on maintaining this balance in his life. He realizes he needs to take on higher-level missions to pay off the remaining debt and ensure his own safety. Determined to tackle more rifts alone, the boy browses the school recruitment listings while his boss enjoys fried chicken. As he sifts through the auctions, he realizes the posts are from veterans and that solo missions are impossible for newcomers. Inspired by a brilliant idea, the hero decides that if a suitable team doesn't exist, he can simply create one. He posts an ad seeking support-type assistants with no combat skills, each assigned their own missions. Confidently, he finishes the post, but his boss doubts anyone will take such a ridiculous request seriously. They choose to take a break and plan to search for a team the following day if things don't improve. The protagonist switches off his phone. Early the next morning, the room phone rings incessantly, jolting him awake in an irritating manner. Confused about what is happening, the boy gets up, puzzled by the doorbell ringing for 10 minutes. He opens the door, still half asleep, and finds a girl calling him boss, leaving him even more confused. Staring at the crowd gathered at his door, the young man is completely bewildered by the situation. The girl explains that since he didn't respond, she invited everyone who wanted to join. In silence, the hero explains that his phone was on silent, and he didn't expect anyone to believe those circumstances. The girl explains that low-level supports struggle to find a team, which makes everyone eager to join. In the background, two guys whisper, expressing their doubts about his ability to carry the team, convinced that clearing a rift alone is impossible. Standing up for the boy, the girl assures everyone that she has teamed up with him before and that they can trust him, helping to calm the group down. Still skeptical about the offer, another girl asks if it's true that they don't have to do anything and will still receive half. With a weary expression, the protagonist confirms his agreement, stating that it's acceptable as long as they don't interfere with his actions. At that moment, the entire crowd erupts with everyone shouting about their own missions and eager to go first. With an awkward smile, the girl admits she didn't expect so many people and asks which task he will tackle first. With a sinister grin, the boy reveals his true intentions, declaring that he plans to take everything. The scene shifts to the Hengsheng group building at night. Inside, a man is suddenly punched in the face, stepping on the fallen thug. The blonde attacker shouts that he is the worst on the team and that he got chewed out because of him. To maintain the pressure, the boss issues ruthless orders for debt collection, even instructing them to resort to kidnapping, threatening his subordinate. The blonde boss warns that if performance doesn't improve, he will pursue the debt owed by him and his family as well. With blood on the floor, the man endures the beating in silence, fully aware of the consequences he faces if he fails the company. As he exits the building, the man encounters his subordinates, who respectfully refer to him as boss. Noticing the cut on the boss's face, one of the guys asks what happened, but he simply replies that it was just a scratch. The thug suggests expanding the business, stating that relying solely on debt collection won't allow them to keep pace with the other teams. The boss slaps the guy across the face, refusing to engage in the same disgusting behavior. Concerned that his children will struggle, the man decides to seek financial help elsewhere and recalls the wealthy individual he knows. Cho Chen, the debt boss, recalls the kid's name and decides to investigate further. As he reviews the hero's file, he discovers that the young man paid $2 million in a single transaction to gain admission to Dawn Academy. The villain realizes he underestimated the kid, who proves to be a much greater threat than he anticipated, prompting him to pursue him. Meanwhile, in a rift, the kid and his team confront a rank D cave tree demon. By defeating the creature with his shadow tentacles, the hero collects 12,000 souls and completes the hunt mission. Immediately afterward, he takes down several swamp fishmen, earning an additional 10,100 souls. After defeating a stone giant, the kid earns an additional 5,000 souls and successfully completes another 3-star mission. Standing among the bodies of the monsters, the protagonist expresses his gratitude to his teammates as their support allowed him to achieve a great deal. Focusing on his potential, the kid spends his souls to level up his strength and spirit. With the investment, his touch of death rises to level 3, enhancing both his tentacles and the abyss space. He also acquires Source of Fear, a skill that generates an abyss within terrified targets, allowing him to torment them. Suddenly, his teammates scream in desperation as they find themselves surrounded by a crystal shell. Scorpions. Several rank D monsters suddenly appear, completely surrounding the group, leaving them with no idea where they came from. At that moment, the kid confronts the creatures, demanding to know who gave them permission to lay a hand on his teammates. Overwhelmed by the intense pressure, the monster panics, frozen in fear before the young. Realizing that his eye of authority can detect subtle emotional states, the protagonist understands that the enemy is experiencing fear. He decides to take advantage of this insight. To test the new combat skill, he activates the source of fear. With that, several shadowy tentacles erupted from the abyss within the monsters, causing them to explode from the inside out. Completely shocked by the scene, his partners can hardly believe it, marveling at the incredible new skill. The kid believes that as long as the enemy feels fear, he can control it and harness the abyss to blow them up. Even with the win, he finds it strange that he received so few souls, despite the strength of the enemies, earning only 2,100 souls in total. He realizes that something is truly amiss. There was an issue with the count, declaring that the missions are complete. The kid's partner suggests they can now submit everything, expressing gratitude for their hard work. The protagonist tells the crew to take a break and assures them he will reach out later. Considering the low number of souls, he concludes that the system is punishing him to prevent easy leveling in low rifts. The sound of footsteps catches his attention. He turns to see his senior approaching, a confident smile on their face. This unexpected encounter sparks a glimmer of hope in him as he considers the possibility of seeking guidance on how to tackle the challenges ahead. A message pops up on his phone, catching the kid off guard in the midst of his thoughts. When offered $100,000 to follow someone for a day, the hero initially refuses, assuming it's bodyguard work. The person sweetens the deal, explaining they simply want company while shopping, and increases the amount. Still, the hero declines. The person then reveals that there's a dangerous rift at the location and that they actually need protection. Surprised by the information for the first time, the hero becomes intrigued by the offer. The next day, the scene shifts to an outdoor training spot. When his boss asks why they are there, the kid explains that he has arranged a meeting with someone. As the hero spots a man approaching, he inquires if he is the one who sent the message about the job. Suddenly, the debt boss appears out of nowhere and grabs the man, declaring that he is the person the child is searching for. The man then takes off running, shouting apologies for the trap. Not understanding anything, the kid stands there, wondering what's happening and if he has been fooled. The villain tells the young man that if he reveals how he acquired the money, he guarantees his safe passage out. The hero, ignoring the villain, simply complains that there isn't a wild rift nearby, wondering where he might find one. Stopping the kid from leaving, the debt boss demands to know if he was given permission to go. The man becomes furious, feeling that the protagonist is looking down on him. Using his combat skill, Pressure, the villain boasts about his power and introduces himself as Lin Yu. The kid recognizes the name and realizes he hasn't heard about him in a long time. Finally, he realizes that this is the loan shark who provided the loan with exorbitant interest rates. When the kid asks why they are still pursuing him, he receives a cynical response. The villain explains that it is precisely because he has money that they are after him. Leaving the hero furious. Annoyed by the audacity, the loan shark compares him to another brat, claiming he's getting cocky simply because he got into the academy. He insists that he needs to teach him a lesson by smacking him around a bit to help him learn how to behave. To the thug's surprise, the kid throws the first punch without hesitation. Totally in shock, the guy wonders what happened and when the kid actually attacked him. In disbelief over what just occurred, the villain refuses to accept that he couldn't match the movements of a rank D. Convinced it was merely a coincidence, he activates his combat skill, the high-pressure fist. However, before he can launch his attack, the kid lands a punch squarely on his face. The assault continues as the kid punches the loan shark in the stomach, finishing with a powerful blow that sends him crashing to the ground. The protagonist knocks the guy out. Lying on the ground, bruised and battered, the loan shark realizes he has no power to confront the kid. Desperate to end the beating, the villain surrenders. The entity remarks that the person is the dead guy and proposes either killing him or torturing him a little first. Refusing the suggestion, the hero states that he still has questions to ask and doesn't need to kill him just yet. Panicking at the mention of the word kill, the loan shark pleads for his life, insisting it was all a misunderstanding. Without wasting any time, the kid activates his fear skill. The villain is utterly terrified by the scene unfolding before them, activating the source of fear. The kid declares that they're going to have a little chat, and he will know if the other person is lying. Desperate, the loan shark pleads for his life, promising to reveal anything he wants to know. When the hero asks why he is being targeted, he receives a disheartening response. Recognizing that the target has developed a lucky mindset, the system issues a warning to the kid, who lets out a sigh. In a panic, the loan shark confesses that he was desperate and wants to know how the kid managed to get $2 million. Confronting the loan shark about the men who broke into his house, the villain insists that he has taken care of them. Those idiots. As the kid observes the eye of authority remaining unresponsive, he realizes that the guy is telling the truth. Inquiring about the 100 million debt, the hero discovers that the Heng Sheng group is the one responsible. Explaining the group's style, the loan shark reveals that he also owes money, which is why he came looking for the kid. Putting it all together, the protagonist realizes that his senior was correct about the large company orchestrating everything, accusing the man of numerous wrongdoings. The kid applies pressure. The villain insists he's different, claiming that the most immoral thing he's ever done was capture a beast to sell on the black market. The hero remembers the ring and directly inquires about the wild rift. The kid discovers that the loan shark has one available. After instructing the guy to take him to the rift, the two arrive at a warehouse in the East 7 district, confirming that it's a rank C rift. The hero listens as the loan shark explains he has connections in the black market. He inquires about the tool needed to open the portal. The kid spots the yellow crystal that the man purchased. Feeling a surge of confidence, the hero instructs him to open the rift so they can enter and explore. Stepping through the portal, the two find themselves in a lush green setting, a scene completely different from what they had anticipated. Suddenly, a new wish mission appears, requiring him to subdue every enemy. And seeing the new mission, the kid celebrates, realizing that discovering a high-level rift was the right choice. In a tense call, the loan shark tries to convince the kid to back down, warning him that it's dangerous. However, Zhou Chen stands firm, declaring that he is determined to conquer the rift. Completely panicked, the man explains that they would need at least 5 rank C oracles. Revealing his past, he shares that he was once part of a conquest team, which he considers common knowledge. Believing the joke isn't funny, the loan shark attempts to leave but halts when he senses that something is amiss. Holding the crystal that opens the portal, the hero calls out to him, asking if he has been searching for it. Correcting the loan shark, the kid declares that he will conquer the rift alone and insists that the other guy does not have permission to interfere. Moving forward, the protagonist presses on, leaving the loan shark with no option but to follow. They arrive at a location teeming with demon monkeys. Terrified by their numbers, the loan shark explains that these creatures are cruel and tend to live in groups. Surrounded by the monsters, the man screams in desperation, fearing he will be eaten alive. The kid believes that having an entire pack right there is pure luck. Activating the skill, he leaves the loan shark feeling completely confused and terrified. With his shadowy tentacles, he pierces multiple demon monkeys simultaneously. Completely stunned by the scene, the loan shark is in disbelief at what he's witnessing. Meanwhile, more monsters continue to charge, and fearlessly, a horde of demon monkeys surrounds the kid. As he witnesses the massacre, the loan shark is in shock, unable to comprehend that rank C beasts are being killed instantly. As the hero continues to fight, the loan shark finally begins to understand. This is how he makes his money, by pushing through the forest. The boy forges ahead, leaving a path of destruction in his wake. With his tentacles, he dispatches another group of monkeys, earning 550 souls for each one. The protagonist continues the massacre, accumulating souls as he clears the area. Meanwhile, the loan shark questions whether this is truly the kind of strength expected from a rank D. The man admits that he honestly feels bad for the group of monkeys being slaughtered. As he watches his soul counter rise, the boy smiles, impressed by the number of points he is accumulating. Suddenly, something rushes in quickly. This prompts the hero to activate his perception. Suddenly, a massive white demon monkey lunges at the kid. Using his level 3 touch of death, the protagonist summons his tentacles to defend himself, attempting to pierce the creature. To the boy's surprise, the tentacles are unable to penetrate the beast's skin. With a massive impact, the monster throws the boy and the loan shark far away. The hero instructs the guy to hide, quickly getting him out of harm's way, while the loan shark complies without hesitation. Staring down the giant creature, the boy realizes he has finally found the boss of the rift. Using the Eye of Authority, he identifies the creature as the Demon Monkey Boss, a rank C variant. Upon activating the skill, the beast goes berserk, numbing its sensitivity to pain and shedding its fear. Mocking the monster, the boy taunts it, asking if it is angry because he killed its minions. Summoning his sword, the protagonist declares that it will be joining its companions soon enough. Charging in with all its might, the demon boss attempts to land a punch on the boy. The impact only cracks the ground as the hero dodges with incredible agility. The boy leaps over the monster, preparing to counterattack. Activating his divine speed, he moves so quickly that the monster can't even keep up. With a flurry of high-speed slashes, the hero strikes the beast multiple times, leaving it dazed. Observing from a distance, the loan shark can hardly believe such technique, questioning whether it truly belongs to rank D. Completely stunned, the guy wonders who that kid is, boldly confronting the boss head-on. The hero continues to fight, the team concentrated on defeating the Rift boss. Unleashing a flurry of strikes with his sword, the boy attacks the demon boss from every angle as the hunters launch their offensive. With precision and determination, they strike at the vulnerable creature, exploiting its moment of weakness. The hero activates his skill, Source of Fear, wrapping the monster in a terrifying illusion. The creature unleashes its full power, distorting reality and instilling fear in all who encounter it. Panic ensues as the demon boss stands completely frozen, unable to react. Without giving the enemy a chance, the boy summons his tentacles and pierces the beast's chest. Upon landing, the protagonist remarks that, as expected from a rank C boss, its skin is thick. Upon completing the wish mission, the system rewards him with the pure crystal from the demon monkey boss. Holding the new crystal, he wonders about the purpose of the 3 he already possesses. Suddenly, the system notifies him of an upgrade. He decides to use the 3 rare crystals and spends 3,000 souls to enhance his gear into an accessory, acquiring a new rare item, the Lucky Hunter. He discovers that he now has a greater chance of obtaining materials. Completely shocked, the loan shark approaches him, calling him Big Bro and asking for orders. Inquiring about the value of the beasts, the hero discovers that rank C materials are rare on the black market, instructing the man to take care of the harvesting. The loan shark assures him that he can manage it. The boy can leave it all to him. Checking his final status, the protagonist sees that he is now level 9, with plenty of missions still ahead. As he reviews his stored gear, he notices his great sword and the Lucky Hunter. 2 hours later, in a warehouse at the docks, the debt boss, Lin Yu, arrives for a meeting. Welcomed by Boss Wang, the two greet each other like old business partners. As they shake hands, Boss Wang remarks that it's rare for the other man to arrive so late, and expresses that he has been looking forward to this meeting. Seeing someone behind the loan shark, Boss Wang is confused and struggles to understand his partner's attitude. As the boy watches them intently, Boss Wang inquires whether old Lin is venturing into new business. He praises the hero as if he were top-shelf merchandise and offers his services, claiming he knows potential buyers. Before he can continue, the loan shark grabs the man's hand with brutal force, causing him to stop immediately. Staring at his partner with a menacing glare, Lin Yu warns that they are there to discuss only Rift business. Completely terrified, Boss Wang wonders what has gotten into Lin Yu and who that boy is. Apologizing, the man explains that he was just joking and invites the two to continue their conversation. In the meeting room, Boss Wang inquires about what Lin Yu is selling. He opens a box, curious about its contents, as a loan shark presents it to Boss Wang. Shocked, the man can hardly believe what he is witnessing. The box, filled with monkey demon materials, prompts the guy to ask where old Lin obtains such items. Boss Wang offers $1.5 million, attempting to lowball him by claiming that rank C materials are hard to come by. Stunned by the price, the kid finally understands why the Academy controls materials so tightly. Haggling over the resources reveals just how valuable they are and the lengths people will go to obtain them. The loan shark insists that rank C materials are worth significantly more and threatens to seek another buyer. Under pressure, Boss Wang raises the offer, but the loan shark still demands more, ultimately settling on $2.5 million, warning that if people discover he possesses rank C materials, the big clients will cease to come. The loan shark persuades him to go along with it, sealing the deal. The two finalize the business arrangement, with Boss Wang promising to keep the loan shark in mind. Walking along the docks, the kid and the loan shark exit the warehouse after a successful deal. Seeing the instant transfer on his phone, the protagonist smiles, feeling like luck is on his side. He prepares to leave when the loan shark calls out to him, asking if he needs anything else. Suddenly, 2 men in suits appear, announcing that they have finally located the boss. Leaving the kid confused, the guys explain that after the boss disappeared, they became worried and decided to track him down. Seeing the loan shark next to the hero, one of the goons is surprised and doesn't understand what's happening. Believing the kid has been caught, the man remarks that the boss must have taught the brat a lesson. The goon approaches the hero and asks if the kid handed over the money. Before he can finish his sentence, the loan shark slaps his subordinate across the face. Yelling at his goon, the loan shark delivers another slap, commanding him to be quiet. The man apologizes to the kid, calling him Big Bro, and admits he was careless with his subordinates. Offering $1 million to the loan shark, the hero proposes to split the money as payment. Considering this, the loan shark weighs his options. The kid wonders to himself why he gave so much money, especially since the guy didn't do anything in return. As the protagonist says goodbye, they decline the ride, explaining that it wouldn't look good for them to be seen together, and then walks away. When questioning why the kid let the loan shark go, his boss remarks that he would have kept him as a slave. As the kid walks away, the goon asks what's happening. The boss says it's a long story before giving new orders. The loan shark instructs the guys to search for any news about wild rifts with all their resources. He views this as their only opportunity to finally secure their freedom. A few days later, on the shopping street at Dawnbreaker Academy, the kid is impressed by the large crowd and decides to explore. With money in hand, he walks into Nekuru General Store, where he is warmly welcomed. As he examines the skill stones on display, the protagonist thinks that everything is far too expensive. Realizing that his $1 million won't last long, the kid decides he doesn't need offensive skills. He chooses 2 stones, each worth 100,000, selecting Terrain Detection and Harvest Mastery. Seeing the special armor for rifts reminds the kid that he needs to change clothes. Since his clothes aren't suitable for fighting, he decides to seek out better armor. Understanding that he is the agility type, he realizes that heavy armor won't be effective. Finally discovering what he was searching for, the protagonist feels a surge of excitement, realizing that the armor isn't half bad. Suddenly, a strange-looking figure appears behind him, complimenting his excellent taste. Introducing the armor as his masterpiece, the man claims it is both light and durable. He suggests that the outfit would look even better if he improved his image. The hero suddenly realizes that his hair has grown long, revealing that he is the best stylist on the street. The man offers to cut the kid's hair. With a total of 910,000, the stylist thanks him, and the hero leaves with a fresh new look. As he checks out his appearance, he remarks that the outfit is comfortable and that he feels much more confident. A group of girls catches sight of a handsome guy and begins to wonder who he is. Observing the reactions of those around him, his boss admits he doesn't comprehend how humans think. As he hands a frilly outfit to his boss, the hero mentions that he chose clothes for him, but the entity refuses, insisting that he should give it a try. The kid argues that trying it on won't kill him. Just then, someone appears and captures the hero's attention. It's his senior. Linny looks surprised to see him. Commenting on the coincidence, the hero mentions that it's been a while since they last met, to which she replies that she barely recognized him. As they see the two of them together, a group of girls remarks that they look like the perfect couple. Pulling the boy by the hand, she says there are too many people around and they need to find a quieter place. Once they're in a cafe, the senior mentions that a lot has happened while she was away. Impressed by the boy's significant improvement, the young woman remarks that she has a knack for spotting talent. Feeling embarrassed for not knowing how much he has grown, the senior offers an apology. Explaining her absence, the young woman reveals that the guild has been facing numerous challenges, piquing the boy's curiosity. The senior then discusses an extremely important battle that involves all the major guilds. She reveals that the Golden Radiance Rift is on the verge of appearing. Confused by the name, the boy asks about the rift, not understanding what it is. She explains that it's a unique rift that opens only once every 2 years. As they delve into what lies within, the senior reveals that it's filled with ancient ruins and powerful monsters, offering incredible rewards. The young woman claims that a rank D oracle can attain immense power. This is why all the major guilds compete fiercely for a chance to recruit one. As one of Shenhua's heirs, she too must fight for her guild. Seeing it as the perfect opportunity to farm souls, the boy asks if he can join. The young woman explains that the event is a guild war and that his level does not meet the requirements, warning that the Golden Rift is a high-level zone. The senior states that it would be far too dangerous for him, still advocating for his idea. The boy asks if there truly isn't any other way in. The young woman reveals a loophole. The logistics team doesn't participate in the fighting. Confirming the decision, the senior states that the rift should appear in 2 days. Weeks have passed, and she has already sent him gifts. With a 2-week deadline approaching, she begins to prepare. The boy realizes that his sole focus must be on leveling up. Upon entering his room, he discovers a purple box and wonders if it belongs to the senior. As the hero opens the package, they discover several high-quality stellar energy supplements inside. Shocked by the value of the items, his boss reminds him that he cannot use them to level up. Understanding that he cannot return them without revealing his method, the young man refuses to sell them on principle. All of a sudden, a brilliant idea pops into his head. 2 days later, during a rank D subjugation mission, the protagonist steps into another rift. His phone starts ringing, and in the middle of the fight, he answers it. He hears his old teammates freaking out about the gifts, saying he doesn't need that many. The boy says it would be a waste to just let them sit there. As he defeats 2 cave spiders, his friends cheer, proclaiming they would walk through fire for him. While discussing their grueling training, they exude confidence, but soon they become aware of the commotion on his side. They turn to face it. A giant cave spider looms as the hero bids farewell, assuring them he'll see them later. With his tentacles, he defeats the Rift boss, earning 900 souls. Shocked that he killed the boss while on the phone, his partners believe he's gone too far. Counting his souls, the protagonist notes that he can't use them to level up. The mechanist recognizes that the level restriction is what's holding him back. Determined, he decides to try a new approach to build strength and time. Somewhere else, spending, with 50,000 souls, the boy purchases a rift fragment to open a portal. He explains to his boss that the item appeared in the shop after he ranked up, searching for a quiet spot just in case. The young man prepares to use the new item. Holding the fragment, he considers the price. The outcome can't be bad. Ready to bet everything on it, the hero activates the rift fragment, opening a portal to a location known as Grilob's treasure. Hall feels an unusual aura as he sees that look for the first time. Without hesitation, the boy and his boss exchange glances, sensing the weight of the moment. He touches the glowing wall and finally enters the space. Realizing he entered without a tree fragment, he concludes that this isn't a normal rift. Based on the name, the protagonist anticipated a maze, but resolved to remain vigilant for enemies. His boss warns him that something is approaching. Immediately afterward, 2 goblins emerge from the trees, strolling casually as if it's just another day. Identifying the goblins, the hero mistakenly assumes that the monsters cannot be very strong. In the blink of an eye, one of the goblins charges in at an astonishing speed. Caught by the sudden attack, the boy has no time to react. As he dodges, the other goblin readies to hurl a rock with great force. With quick reflexes, he narrowly avoids the projectile, which shatters a nearby tree into pieces. The protagonist is stunned by the damage, struggling to comprehend the incredible strength and speed of the goblins in this place. Suddenly, a new mission appears, banning the use of his abyss potential. Completely panicked, the boy struggles to comprehend what is happening. The secret mission requires him to clear out the treasure hall and survive until the second day. To make matters worse, his death touch and abyss space abilities were banned. As the goblin charges toward him, the hero understands that he must fight without his primary powers. Dodging the attack, he watches as the monster slams into the floor, creating a powerful impact. Recognizing the incredible strength of these creatures, the kid realizes that one mistake could be deadly. Looking for an opening, he confronts the goblins, eager for an opportunity to retaliate.